Well, we are back at Hershey Park Stadium, and welcome back as our coverage of state championship football continues tonight on PCN. An outstanding AAA final to bring you. Strath going for state history. Their third straight state title is on the line tonight. They could win their 45th game in a row. To do it, though, they'll have to get past the West Allegheny team from Imperial, a team led by maybe the best player in the state, certainly one of the top quarterbacks in the state, Tyler Palco, a verbal commitment to the University of Pittsburgh, who will play there next year. We are certainly fired up to bring it to you. I'm Mike Conti, joined by Rich Vitak of the Pennsylvania Football News. Rich, Rochester won the single-A game 16-0. Wasn't really a work of art, let's just put it that way. But we really think that this game tonight may be the best of the whole weekend.
It looks that way coming in. I'm just concerned about how Strath is going to react after the thrilling 14-13 victory over a very good Manheim Central team last week. I talked to Coach Clancy before the game here tonight, and he said he has had a good week of practice. His boys are ready to go, and it should really be a dandy game. This could be another game where speed could make the difference in the ball game.
All right, so let's talk about the Indians first. And really all you need to know is Palco. Whatever you say, Palco is the big man, whether it be the coach or the quarterback. Palco is the factor. And let's talk about the quarterback first. Really, he's having another fine season this year, Rich. One of the top quarterbacks in the state. And really, the whole offense revolves around him.
Exactly, and Tyler Palco is the type of player that when they need him to run, he runs. When they need him to pass, he passes. In the WPIAA championship game 2 weeks ago, they threw 8-9 men in the box and dared him to pass, and he did. He responded by throwing 3 touchdown passes to lead, I'm sorry, that was against Perry last week, to lead them into the state championship game.
And you're looking right now at footage, by the way, from the WPIAA final, which West Allegheny defeated Hopewell 23-6.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people don't realize they have Deontay Henry and Dave Hawkins. Not real big numbers, 750 yards for Henry and 687s for Hawkins, but Palco has 621s also. So you're talking about, about 1,900 yards, almost close to 2,000 yards rushing from their backfield. And then, of course, Palco has thrown for 1,685 yards and 17 touchdowns also.
And here you see him kind of work himself around in the pocket a little bit and find his receiver, Slappy. Slappy's his big target. He had a big game again last week against Perry, as you mentioned. And no receiver on this team really has huge numbers, but in a game-time situation or in a situation where maybe the game is on the line, it seems like Slappy is usually the man.
Slappy's a go-to guy, there's no question. He's quite an athlete, but if you look down through the entire season, Coach Palco at the best throws 8 to 10 passes a game. He relies on a strong defense and a good running game and an outstanding kicking game, especially with senior Derek Javarone.
Now, Coach Palco really credited his defense for being a huge factor in that win over Perry. They forced 3 interceptions and a fumble, and that really was a huge factor in West Allegheny even being here tonight. But no one seems to realize this West Allegheny defense is really dangerous. Everyone wants to talk about Palco. What makes this defense so dangerous?
Well, first of all, they have some outstanding players, Manny Rojas and Mike Craig and Dave Hawkins. But what a lot of people don't realize is Tyler Palco is probably one of the best defensive backs in the state and has been. Tyler has made our All-Pennsylvania football team first team since he was been a sophomore at defensive back. He's just a superb athlete, and he breaks to the ball very well when they try to throw, and he's a pretty hard-hitting tackler also. But Rojas, Hawkins, and Mike Craig are really key performers there.
And that West A defense is giving up just 6.6 points per game. You wonder why they're in the state finals and why all these teams in the state finals have that low number. Really, that's a staggering number, 6.6 points per game. However, this team has had some losses this year. Lost to Blackhawk in the final week of the regular season. Of course, Rochester lost to Monaca in the final game of the regular season. We know where they are now.
That happens, and when you play in the WPIAA, which is a very difficult conference, and I'm not comparing it to other conferences in the state, I don't even get into that, but they're, sometimes they're kids, and we have to remember that they're kids and they're 16, 17 years old, and sometimes they come on and they play their A game, and sometimes they come on and play their C game, and usually when they play their C game and the other team is gunning for them, they've been here WPIAA champions 3 years in a row. they have a target on their back, and that's going to happen. The same with Rochester throughout the year this year also.
And there is sort of an emotional subtext to this game tonight. Bob Palco, the head coach of West Allegheny, is coaching Tyler Palco, his son, for the final time. Tyler is a senior. He'll be moving on to the University of Pittsburgh next year. Bob Palco told me before the game, really, that hasn't been on his mind. Certainly no surprise to hear that out of him, but psychologically, that has to be in the back of his mind.
Well, you know, you would think so, but Bobby Palco is probably a first-class individual you ever want to meet, as is Kevin Clancy. Two great guys and outstanding coaches, well-respected. But it's going to be bittersweet for Bob Palco tonight. Tyler's last year, but he does have another one, little Luke Palco, who's a wide receiver that, who knows, maybe tonight Luke will come through in the spotlight and help his team to victory also.
Well, what an unbelievable year it has been for Strath Haven. In fact, what an unbelievable 3-year run it's been for Strath Haven. They've won 44 consecutive games, going for 45 tonight. They're trying to do tonight what only 2 other teams in the state have done in any classification, win 3 straight state championships. Of course, Central Bucks West did it in Quad A, and Berwick did it in Triple A. And Strath Haven is coming off a pretty emotional win last week.
That's why, you know, it's almost a little scary sometimes. Getting up for that big game, are you going to be able to get your team up for 2 consecutive big games like that? It's difficult. If anyone can do it, Kevin Clancy can. And he's got the weapons, especially Josh Hannum, probably one of the nicest athletes in the state, wide receiver, verbally committed to Notre Dame. Dan Connor might be he might be the best Connor, and he's only a sophomore. Big running, bruising fullback, outstanding defensive player also.
Now, Strath Haven had, as I mentioned, an emotional win last Saturday night. They're going on a 6-day turnaround. They defeated Manheim Central 14-13, where basically all the offense came in the first half, and then Manheim Central kind of shut them down in the second half. Manheim Central failed on a 2-point conversion in the final minutes of the game, and that gave a ticket to the state finals once again to Strath Haven. Certainly, I'm sure the coaching staff, the players have to be a little bit concerned at the offensive drop-off they had in the second half of that East final game against Manheim Central.
I would think so, and Dan Miller, their quarterback, is relatively new to this arena, and they had Mike Connor last year who ended up starting for Delaware the last 4 games, so the experience in big games is not there as a quarterback for Strath Haven, where Palco has that experience. I've seen Allegheny the last couple of weeks, and they look as good as I've seen any team play this year, so it really should be, they play their A game and Strath Haven plays their A game. It still should be a very close contest.
37 catches for 725 this year for Hannum, also 7 touchdowns. But you're talking about a guy, Rich, who was going at 1,000 yards a year, bordering on 2,000 yards. This year, it's kind of fallen off a bit. Why has that been?
Probably because of the inexperience at quarterback with Dan Miller. Mike Connor was a 3-year starter quarterback, and you know, when you work with the same receiver for 3 years, you can almost read each other's minds out there, even at this level. So I'm sure the drop-off a little bit was because of that. Coach Clancy does have a younger team than he did, so they, you know, what you try to do with a young team is don't make mistakes, keep the ball on the ground. If you can move it on the ground, you don't have to throw as much. And there's just a combination of a lot of things there. But Josh Hannum, what a lot of people don't realize, he's probably as good a defensive back as he is as a wide receiver also. Outstanding individual.
Of course, last weekend in the East Final, we saw a great defensive effort by Manheim Central to shut down the Strath Haven offense. But we also saw a pretty good effort out of Strath Haven to shut down that Manheim Central offense. As a matter of fact, Strath Haven on the season is giving up an average of 7.2 points per game. What makes them so tough defensively?
Well, it starts with their inside linebacker, Dan Connor, and of course Hannum, the defensive back, and they're just very well coached. Jim Bubba Connor, their line coach, is, you know, he has nothing every year it seems, and all of a sudden they have an outstanding line. And I think, and Coach Clancy's the first to tell you that his assistants are excellent assistants and prepare these boys for the season and big games. And you know, you even hear comments, well, how tough is their schedule? Surprisingly, they have a pretty tough schedule down there in the southeast part of the state, and it shows because they're here 44 games in a row they haven't lost, and of course I think West Allegheny wants to take that and stop that streak tonight too.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're getting you set for the PIAA final here at Hershey Park Stadium. West Allegheny at 12-2, Strath Haven at 14-0. In a moment, we'll be going upstairs to Jed Donahue, Gordon Blaine, and Mike Pettin. Gary Sutton will also be involved on the field. For the broadcast, the game will kick off shortly after 7 p.m. And the weather conditions are not going to be a factor in this game. I think you could argue maybe it was in the single A game with the wind just being ferocious and a factor with the kicking game. In the span of about 2 hours, the wind is just completely shut off. It's warm again now. It's about 65 degrees, and the field is relatively dry, so really weather should not be a factor as it was in the single A game.
Yeah, I don't think so, and I'm not even so sure it was that much of a factor in the single A game, only because both of those teams were running teams. And they didn't throw very much until the end when Rochester had them down 16-0. They had to throw the ball. But no, it's a beautiful night. You couldn't ask for a nicer night, and a great. Looks like a great crowd here, and it should be a great football game.
One man that often gets overlooked is the kicker. Carl Schoenman is the Strath Haven kicker. He won a state championship for his team last year. Had the field goal in the final seconds to ice it over West Allegheny, and Schoenman is a very, very reliable man for Strath Haven to go to, second on the team in scoring. If it comes down to a field goal battle, do you think the advantage goes to Strath Haven?
No, I really don't. I think Derek Javarone has been a kicker since he's been a freshman. He's played in some big games in the WPL championship. He set a record 3 field goals in a game. He's probably as accurate a kicker as you'll see. Not to take anything away from Carl Schoenman, he's also a good kicker. And like you said, he kicked the winning. I'm not even so sure there is an edge either way, but they're so equal, and if it comes down to the kicking game, it could end up who has the ball last.
Now, 31-28 was the final score last year between these two teams. Again, Schoenman's kick winning it for Strath Haven at the end. And just polling some of our colleagues here before we came on the air tonight, they really thought that may have been one of the best games they had ever seen, at least in state finals history. What made that game so good last year, and how have these teams changed in the span of a year?
Well, I think last year's game, if you remember, the scores when Strath Haven, the score's 28-28, and Mike Connor completed a pass to Hannum, and Hannum took it down to about the 15-yard line. That was a key play in that game, and the ingredients are back again. You have Hannum back. You don't have Connor, of course, but Hannum's there, Slappy. This should be the classic matchup on both ends of the ball. Joe Slappy and Josh Hannum. Joe Slappy's been playing excellent the last 3 weeks. He's really stepped his game up another level. But I think as far as West Allegheny goes, that's got a it has to be gnawing on their minds for a whole year. I think they want this game really bad, and they may step it up even a bigger level to accomplish what they want to do here.
Both teams have really had their ups and downs this year. As I mentioned, West Allegheny already has 2 losses to their credit. They both came in the regular season, obviously. They lost their final game of the regular season to their rival Blackhawk. Hasn't really been easy for Strath Haven, though. They are 14-0, but obviously that missed 2-pointer by Manheim Central was a big factor in them getting here. They also had a tight one with Berwick in the East semifinal, so both teams certainly have had to deal with a lot of adversity this year.
Yeah, that's true, but I think, and even in the regular season, they beat Pencrest 14-7, and that kind of opened up some eyes, but people still have to remember, they're a younger team than they were last year. They lost a lot of good players last year, John Mulhern and Mike Connor, and just to name 2 of them, but it takes time. As you play 14 games, they're not young anymore. They have experience. Some of these kids have 2 games experience, you might as well say, of playing 14 games. So the coaching makes the difference on any team like that. And when, hey, this is the 3rd year in a row for both teams. Yeah. They're doing something right.
Well, and there you see the Strath Haven Panthers getting set to take the field. Again, kickoff coming up in about 10 minutes here on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Strath Haven at 14-0. Keith Davis, by the way, was the hero, maybe the unsung hero in that East final. He tipped away that 2-point conversion attempt in the final minute to thwart Manheim Central once again. Boy, there's a hard luck team if you've ever seen it. Manheim Central and trying to get to the state championship game. Davis is a very solid defensive back.
Yes, sir, and he was kind of banged up in that game. Wasn't even sure if he was going to come back in the game and play. And, you know, you talk about a game of inches or milliseconds or any way you want to put it, but if that pass would have been thrown, you know, just an instant sooner, he was open. But, you know, once again, we're talking high school kids here, and Davis did make a nice play, and you would suspect in a game like that Hanlon would come up with a hero, but Davis did, and the rest is history. They're here, and Manheim didn't make it.
Well, we've talked a lot about Tyler Palko, obviously, going to Pitt next year. Solid season. Quickly, let's talk about Luke Palko. What does he bring to the table?
Well, you know, it's really funny because Luke's not very big. Tyler's a big boy, 6'3", 210. Luke's probably about 5'10", 160 pounds. He brings some speed. He gets open. He has nice hands. And I think what would happen if they start, you know, putting some extra people on Joe Slappy, the little Luke Palko could come up big in this game tonight. But Tyler's a type, I saw him single-handedly almost against West Mifflin in the regular season, down 12-0, took it upon himself to come out, and he dropped that, ran a lot of quarterback draws and just started running the football, and that's what Strath has to watch for tonight. But he's also capable of throwing also. He's multi-dimensional, there's no question about it.
There you see the brothers Palko. There's Luke. As you mentioned, not really the biggest guy in the world, but a factor nonetheless. No major injury news to report for either team. The West dominated in the first game today. Rochester defeating Southern Columbia. Do you expect the trend to continue?
Boy, you put me on the spot again.
I know.
I don't like to make predictions, but in my newspaper this past week, all the contributors did a prediction thing, and I was the only one who I predicted an all-West sweep, an all-West sweep. I just felt that West Allegheny is due. They've been here, and I think the kids want to win one for not only for Coach Bob Palko, but also for Tyler, because he's been the leader since he's been a freshman on this football team.
All right, well, it should be a lot of fun, and we hope you'll stay with us here on PCN in a moment. We'll be sending it upstairs to Jed Donahue, Gordon Blaine, Mike Pettin, and Gary Sutton for the call. Strath and West Allegheny, one of the great games last year in the state finals here at Hershey Park Stadium. And it should be one of the best games this year in the AAA final. And then be sure to join us after the game. Gary Sutton will join me for some post-game analysis. We'll have highlights and we'll have statistics from this one. Strath and West Allegheny coming up momentarily here on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Jed Donahue, Gordon Blaine, Mike Pettin, Gary Sutton standing by for the Indians and the Panthers. Enjoy the game, everyone.
You're watching PCN, the Pennsylvania Cable Network, a public service of Pennsylvania Cable Television Companies. PCN is supported in part by Comcast Cable, serving cable subscribers in Bensalem and Delaware County. Coming up next on the Pennsylvania Cable Network, PCN's exclusive coverage of PIAA Championship football, the AAA Finals. PCN's presentation of regular season high school sports contests is underwritten by Pennsylvania Cable Television Companies, delivering local, state, and national sports programming. And by Homework Help on PCN, televised homework assistance for primary and secondary school students.
Pennsylvania Cable Network, Pennsylvania's championship network, proudly presents high school football. Tonight, the 2001 PIAA State Championship in AAA. Out of the West, West Allegheny coming in here at 12-2 overall. Strath, they haven't lost, well, in years. They're the two-time defending state champ. They're back, coming out of the East at 14-0. Good evening, everybody. Jed Donahue along with head coach Mike Pettin Sr. and also Gordon Blaine. We're delighted to bring you exclusive coverage of this AAA final. Yes, we've been there, done that over the last couple of years. Coach, Strathaven, 44 straight wins in the regular season, playoffs and that sort of thing, going for a third tonight.
Fantastic accomplishment. A lot of pressure. I've been there. How does he keep his kids motivated? You can't remind them, hey, remember when you lost that game? So they have to treat close games as losses, and Kevin Clancy's done a super job with the mental aspect of the game.
Gordon West Allegheny's kind of put the forward pass into play. Bob Palco, kind of a little of everything. They've got a dynamic talent in Tyler Palco. Really, you're looking tonight at one of the all-time great careers that we've seen scholastically in this state in a while. Tyler Palco, number 3, is everything as advertised.
Well, Jed, he's gone to Pitt. He's everybody wanted him. One of the all-time great quarterbacks in Western Pennsylvania. Over 7,000 offensive yards in his 4-year career.
Well, he is sensational. Now, the one thing is that Strathaven may have a little bit more muscle. And, Coach, when we're talking about more muscle, what does that mean for Kevin Clancy, the head coach at Strathaven, and how to exploit that tonight?
Well, I think he's an advantage to have better ball control. I think defensively, he has the edge on keeping down the running game of West Allegheny. It just seems that they have more experience, more size, more talent up front. On the other hand, West Allegheny, great skilled people. Tyler Palco, hey, exciting to watch. He can do everything.
You know what, Coach, though, and Jed, the one big feature of Strathaven through this entire winning streak has been the fact they've been opportunistic. They create turnovers. This year, they're plus 30 in the turnover category. In other words, you make a mistake, they're going to pounce on you. And that's the mark of a great team, as you well know.
They seem to be conservative on D. They kind of hang back. They bend but don't break. They wait for you to make a mistake. You're right, then they pounce on it. And offensively, they're a juggernaut. They're a machine. Very few turnovers. You know, I was told they run the Delaware wing tee better than Delaware University.
We had a bunch of coaches this year go over 200 career wins. Kevin Clancy's at 182. He's soon to get 200. And you think about the fact that he won 4 Catholic League championships as well before he got to Strathaven. That's a tremendous career right there.
Oh, it's no fluke, and everybody respects him in the business. You know, he's a gentleman. His kids do a great job in the offseason. He's a great motivator. But you have to give credit to, you know, the kids have bought into the tradition, the hard work, and each class perpetuates it. Having been through this at Central Bucks West, I can tell you that this particular team, their biggest fear is breaking the streak. There'll be a sense of relief if they get through this. They'll pass on the torch to the next club. They don't want to be the team that drops it. And that weighs heavily on them. I think there's a little more pressure on Strathaven.
And then you look at the other situation, Tyler Palco, a great career, and he says, but I don't have a ring yet. I don't have the trophy. And he said, he told the Pittsburgh media, I'd give up all the great stats and all the great accomplishments if I could win a state championship. And when you got a great talent as a senior who's playing like this is it for him, that's dangerous.
Yeah, we said that with the earlier game. You know, once you're here, the first time it's nice. You can go back if you don't win and say, hey, it was a great run. But the second time you're here, you want to go home with gold. And this is their 3rd time in a row, and I'm sure it weighs heavily on them. So there's pressure both sides, but I think more on Strathaven.
You know, Coach Palco, too, has really tried to develop his program, not only in the great tradition of Western Pennsylvania football, but has gotten around the state.
All right, let's visit with Gary Sutton. Gary is working our sidelines tonight. And we'll have some interesting tales from downstairs. We'll do that for the first time tonight. Gary, good evening.
Oh, good evening, guys. And I'll tell you what, the electricity down here for this 3rd straight matchup is absolutely unbelievable. As they get ready to go, the wind has died down. The field's in great condition. We're ready for another game like last year, which I thought was one of the best games we've ever seen in this championship.
Well, 31-28 a year ago, and Strathaven drove late, got a game-winning field goal in this baby. We thought we were going to overtime a year. And Josh Hannum, I think the one thing, he's number 8. Let's go down to the field and let's visit with the referee.
All right, in the toss we performed earlier, I had Strathaven winning the toss and deciding to receive. West Allegheny kicking to the scoreboard. All right, gentlemen, we talked about sportsmanship. Let's keep this game clean tonight and let your play decide the game. All right, shake hands again, bring your teams, let's go.
Finicky is the official that you were hearing, and we'll be hearing him tonight. He is the manager of this game from a referee standpoint. Here's our
presented today
national
by
anthem.
members of the West Allegheny High School United States Marine Corps Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. In its inaugural year at West Allegheny, the JROTC program provides for a curriculum that stresses the responsibility of citizenship and courses in leadership training. Commanding the color guard is Cadet Sergeant Mike May. Flag bearers, Cadet Lance Corporals Rob Murhott and Jack Kerr. Rifle escorts are Cadet Lance Corporal Adam Wicks and Cadet Sergeant May. They're under the direction of Major Dave Bodazan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you please remain standing for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner as we salute America on this, the 60th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, with the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner to be played by the West Allegheny Indian Pride Marching Band under the direction of Mr. Jason Cheskowich. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Allegheny band. Well, we've asked you this before, Mike. What's going through your mind a little bit? You've talked about the streak a little bit from Strath Haven. Give me a little bit about what's on each of these coaches' minds. Bob Palco, we'll start with him first, and West Allegheny kicking in here.
Well, just last-minute instructions. You know, you're also going over what play you want to open up with. If you have a script of 4 or 5 plays, you're just hoping your team gets off to a good start. You're always wondering, should you go with some of your gadget plays early, or should you kind of, like a heavyweight fight, feel one another out the first couple rounds? You know, getting off to a good start, though, is key in a big game like this.
And from a Strath Haven standpoint, they're going to get the rock first. They've got a dynamic return duo back there in Keith Davis and Josh Hannum.
And you know what I'm going to say? Do not kick to those guys.
You guys don't want that ball back there.
Should we show them the pooch kick?
Yes. I first saw that. I knew you told me the story about how somebody actually did it to you first.
Yeah, we couldn't handle it, so, you know.
I saw that first time I saw one of your, well, way back when, I can't remember the first time I saw one of your games, you pooched it. I'm going, geez, why didn't I think of that?
Now, West Allegheny's kicker could be a weapon and could be a factor in this. Derek Javerone has had a marvelous campaign, Gordon. He's got numbers to back it up, too.
Yeah, he's a great kicker. 9 field goals. I mean, he is just really good kicking the football. I'll tell you what, he's got the foot to booming out of the end zone, which ultimately is what you want your kicker to do if he can.
They come to their feet here in Hershey. This is a much-anticipated rematch. For Strath Haven last week, they had to survive a 2-point conversion against Manheim Central in the Eastern Final and won 14-13. And here we go. They'll kick it a little bit short. It'll bleed through, and here comes Davis starting it back here for the black and white of Strath Haven. Pops out of there and gets it all the way up to the 29-yard line. And that's where Strath Haven will go on offense. Let's meet that offense right now. Nick Hargreaves, he's been around a long time, along with Ray Yanuzzi and Dan Spangler. This is the key to the football game right there. Love the tight end, Owen McGarity, unsung. Wait till you see the young sophomore fullback, Dan Connor. He's got a lot of families been through the program. And number 8 is the heart and soul, the artery to the heart of the offense, being Mr. Hannum for Strath Haven. Going to Notre Dame before on the next level.
Connor's only a sophomore, already getting serious looks from Division I recruiters.
Deontay Davis giving him single coverage there at the bottom of your screen. That's an interesting situation. They'll hand off Davis. Big hole, has about 5 or 6 yards to about the 36. Give him 7 total, and they blew that one wide open through the right side.
As you pointed out, Hannum single coverage, and the defender was 12 yards off him.
There's that West Allegheny defense right there. Manny Rojas, he's been around here a long time.
He's going to have to play real big tonight.
Tinney is very good. Good secondary. They feel confident. We'll see if they can go single coverage the whole way. Now they change their look defensively. Miller comes under center, hand off to the big fullback Connor, and he has nowhere to go. Rojas got the initial stop, and then it was cleaned up from there by Mike Craig of West Allegheny.
Well, I think West Allegheny is going to have to play with a lot of emotion and really keep the tank charged.
It's to their credit that they're doing a good job with the wing tee. They've seen it. It's very tough to defense. But I know they've seen it a couple times in their league, and they're well prepared.
3rd and 3. Ball at the 37. You look at the young quarterback there, Dan Miller. He's a senior. Backed up by Connor. Here's Davis, tries to get to the outside. Second effort, still fighting. He's going to go close. He battled. It wasn't easy, but I think he got there. This will be interesting to see. Again, you talk about effort. How about here?
There's the buck sweep. Bread and butter play of this offense. Right now, he should be down. Great balance. Uses the hand to spin. Gets the first down.
Gordon, we talk about Palco all the time as a quarterback, 2-time All-State defensive back, one of the great safeties in this state.
He's unbelievable. He brings a pile of bricks when he comes up to hit people, and he's a great ball hawk. 6 interceptions this year, returned 1 for a touchdown.
There's Miller for the season as far as his throwing the football, and he'll drop for the first time. Floats it out for Hannum, but obviously they had the wrong thing going.
Well, a lot of credit to Miller. You know, he's a Division I lacrosse player. Gone to a big-time school to play lacrosse, but he's kind of stepped in the shoes of a great quarterback in Connor, and he's been efficient, but he's had some tough stretches where the confidence was a little bit shaky. There, that pass, they weren't on the same page, obviously.
Ball at the 40, so the incompletion will stop the clock. 10-11, just getting started. The initial possession of the football game. There's Keith Davis right there, very underrated performer. He's played in pen of pressure. Play action. Miller throws, looks McGarity, and Palco is right there step for step, and he overshot him at midfield. Great matchup. Little tight end drag here and nothing open as Palco picked it up out of the free safety position.
Looks like West Allegheny is daring them to throw the football. Everybody within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage.
They got good pressure, though, at the same time on the quarterback. He hit him as he was throwing.
Actually, 2 tight ends out. Dave Peck as well. They leak both of them out in coverage or out in the pass area. It's 3rd and 10.
He's got great coverage on this side, Coach.
That goes Miller. The blitz is coming. Intercepted. Going to be a touchdown for Mike Craig. It's going to be a 33-yard touchdown. And how about that for a fast start? West Allegheny scores. 6-0 conversion coming. And Miller should never have thrown that.
Strath Haven has lived on people making mistakes and turnovers.
I don't think he ever saw him. He never saw the defender until the ball was halfway there.
It's like he kind of came behind a door or something and nobody there. Touchdown West Allegheny. Javarona's on. Palco to hold. What about that for a play?
Eerily similar to this afternoon's game with Rochester when they picked off a pass early on.
They got a 51-yard interception return and never looked back. Javarone's kick. Bang, right down the boulevard, and it's 7-0 West Allegheny. Think we'll get a chance to see this again. Well, these two teams don't panic when they're behind, but we'll look at it from the end zone. Coach, take us in.
Well, right now, his line of vision, he never sees him. When he threw the ball, that red jersey was not in sight.
Rojas was bringing the heat at the middle linebacker spot, and Craig, this is what you dream of. Open spaces, touchdown.
Well, they live and die off the turnover. This time they got burned by it.
What an emotional boost.
And they
get on top. They needed that.
And I think that was the key. They're going to have to live off some emotion because, you know, man for man on the line of scrimmage, they're in trouble there. I thought that forcing him to throw the ball was key,
Well,
making Miller make plays.
The thing they're doing to counter the big surge of the line and the size is to put all those guys in the box. As they said, they're daring them to throw the football. And if they can continue to come up with interceptions, that could be the game there.
There's Bob Palco, one of the really good people in this business, coaching in this state. And you got to think he's juiced by that little beginning.
Now you got to watch his kickoff. Take an onside kick. I mean, if you're not set up properly, he's going to kick the ball right now.
Well, this got the West Allegheny fans are on the press box side, and they are jumping right now. A stunning development here in the opening minutes. Davis and Hannum are deep, and let me tell you, both can hit the home run from here. They're kicking away from Hannum. Davis into the end zone, slips, and they'll get the ball at the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Gary Sutton, and he's down on that sideline right now. The place is jumping. West Allegheny with a huge boost out of the gate.
Well, I was impressed by the play before that interception when number 59 really hurried the quarterback, and every time he tried to pass there, you saw a hurry, and finally it paid off and they set up the screen. Everybody sniffed it out. 51-yard touchdown. West Allegheny up 7-0 in this revenge match.
Third go-around for these two. 2 years ago, Strath in a cold, windy night when they had Mark Jones, one going away, 21-0. Last year, kicked a late field goal and won 31-28. West Allegheny is drawing first blood. They'll hand off to Davis, and there's just not much room in there, and he's maybe got a yard or two. The tackle is made for West Allegheny that time by Justin Hope, who's only a sophomore.
There's just too many people to push away there.
Nice job by the defensive end who stood up to block of the fullback.
Also Manny Rojas again. Rojas, a senior, about 220 pounds, 215 pounds. Well, they got Hannum single coverage way off our screen. There he is at the bottom now. They're gonna wind it around for Brian Miller. Miller spins through, got a bit of a seam, but not a lot of it, to about the 24. They're looking at third, about 5.
Gordon, aren't you waiting for the quick out pass to Hannum with that single coverage?
Well, I was trying to get that in that last series, and he didn't go for it. My goodness.
Brian Moore on the carry there. There you're looking at his back, number 20. Really good player. They've got a lot of people in their arsenal.
He didn't get many touches in the last couple of games. I mean, you got to get the ball in his hands.
Third and 5 as Miller scrambles, looks, throws, Hannum incomplete. Coverage pretty good. Joe Slappy. Slappy a wide receiver, but also a pretty good cover guy on that side of the football.
Well, it's obvious that Coach Palco made his mind up. We're going to make the quarterback beat us, and they're going after him. And he's having a tough time with it right now.
Right now, it looks like a great game plan.
I'll tell you what.
Plus, I think the team in red, West Allegheny, seems a lot more inspired at this point.
Well, they don't want to go up 0-3 in this building. I'll tell you, watch out for Palco. He's a great punt returner. He gets his hands on it. These guys are dangerous.
Josh Hannum to punt. Turns it over a little bit. Here's Palco under it. Ball pops free, and he falls on it at the 45-yard line. So we'll see West Allegheny on offense for the first time.
Must have thrown the sports fever jinx on him there.
32-yard punt.
Great field position.
Great field position.
And now I would not be surprised to see West Allegheny go to a real quick short out passing game to create some rhythm. We saw him do it in the WPIAA playoffs a couple times.
Saw Manny Rojas on the blitz, forced the interception. Mike Craig, the tight end, he's got a touchdown already on defense. Luke Palco, younger brother of Tyler, will meet the Strath defense. Slappy, number 7, he's a guy to really keep an eye on that. And the Hannum matchup on both sides. Quick handoff this time is going for Cody Mullins, Jr. They had a guy I liked the last couple of years, Kellen Campbell, who's graduated. And there's Big Dan Connor, number 40. Only a sophomore. He'll be all over the place tonight.
It's interesting, if you take note of the wide splits from West Allegheny. They're trying to get that 52 defense to open up with them and create some seams.
They are taking some pretty big splits, aren't they? He's going to call the play right there in the line of scrimmage. He likes what he sees.
Deontay Henry, and there is absolutely no light under any door, and down he goes right away. In on the stop for Strath is Nick Cresta, 6'1", 205.
Go ahead, Coach. Jump on that. That deep set from the tailback. You got to get moving.
It took a long time to get to the line of scrimmage.
You got to get moving.
You know, it's interesting if you watch Strath Haven, their D-line is a yard and a half, sometimes 2 yards off the ball, because they like to angle, and they like to do a little reading.
Dave Peck, McGarity, Hargreaves, they've been around a while, and that secondary, very good. Lenny Carter, 2 interceptions a couple of weeks ago in a big win.
Big-time sprinter, Jed.
Here's Palco, play action, blitz is coming. Palco running, looking. Now takes it under his arm and goes out of bounds, short of a first down to the 49. But it gives you an idea of the athleticism that we're talking about. I think this guy's more dangerous out of the pocket than he is in, and here's why.
I thought they had him. Right now the protection breaks down. As he scrambles, he has field visions, and he's looking to throw.
Dave Bridus into punt. Moore and Hannum. Hannum, a 48-minute man. Big time punt left.
Great punt.
Moore to fair catch all the way back at the 5-yard line. Make it the 6. 46-yard punt.
46 yards. Well, at that point, I'm sure the Strath Haven young man did not remember the 10-yard rule. Don't catch it inside the 10. Probably would have had it on the 20.
Delaware County, Wallingford, PA.
Just off of the Blue Route.
Just off the Blue Route.
Just off the Blue Route.
Philly, down near Philadelphia in there. Great football tradition here over the last few years.
Well, they've already got one champion in Archbishop Carroll in the Philadelphia Catholic League, and
maybe their final game as a AAA member tonight, ironically.
Good point. Good point.
Big possession here. They'll start at their own 7. They'll go with Keith Davis. Finds a little bit of a hole to the 9-yard line is all. Well, he ran a lot, but didn't get anywhere. May have ran in the wrong hole. As we see this again, he didn't cut it up inside.
I don't think there was a hole. He had to bounce it outside. He's looking to turn it up.
Right there was it.
Right there, he tries to, yeah, he had maybe an inside cut.
Didn't say it was going to the house, but there was a little more than he got there.
How about the gang tackling there? They had 6 or 7 guys right on the football.
West Allegheny is playing with a lot of bounce here in the opening quarter.
They had to. They knew that they had to get the energy tank up and keep it there.
Going to be Moore coming around, tries to get a block. There's nothing there. Got to the 11-yard line and then got stamped down. And the play is made by Mike Craig.
Well, he's had a big game so far.
I'd say. Touchdown. A big stop there. And again, 3rd and long, 3rd and 6. This is where West Allegheny wants to play this game tonight. 3rd and long.
Well, let's see if they like to put on the heat from time to time. It's a good time to blitz.
Their staff has basically said Miller can't beat us. That's at least the early trend that we're seeing.
How about Henry coming up, taking on that blocker to giving Craig a chance to come make the tackle?
Now it's Slappy and Hannum to the top of your screen 101. Miller, that play just blew up.
They came with the blitz.
And down he goes. They're going to have to punt again. This time field position is tilted to West Allegheny. Hannum's going to have to get off a rocket shot, or they're going to get the ball around the 40-yard line of Strath Haven. Very inspired, very impressive start for the Indians here.
Strath Haven managed, what, 10 yards offense in the second half last week against Manheim Central, and they have sort of stayed right there with that.
As they're kicking away, it's going to be Palco at the 40. Looks for a block, cuts it up inside, and returns it to the 33-yard line. A 34-yard punt for Hannum, but again, the field position game and the chess match that goes on, the game within a game advantage, West Allegheny here.
West Allegheny, great field position. Now you can run any part of your offense. And Bob Palco, he does it all. Option, shotgun, inside trapping game, power football. Of course, with the trigger man, you have a quarterback, it's easy to do that.
Don't let that 1,685 yards fool you. This guy can throw with anybody around. Quarterback draw, and they read that out very well. Peck in on the stop, also helping out as Moore.
I thought Palco had a great chance to be a 1,000 guy this year, but you know, they got situations where he didn't have to run the ball as much. He still had over 600 yards rushing the ball. He's a big kid, big strong kid, and awful smart player. Coach on the field.
West Allegheny's 2 losses this year by a combined 7 points. They have caught fire, though, in the postseason.
Here comes the shotgun. We got trips open.
There's Palco. Back, throws over to Slappy. Step around, move 30. Look out. Has 10. Into the clear and down to the West Strath Haven 12-yard line. This was beautifully set up in a 20-yard gain and a first down.
It's a great call. You got trips to one side. You're going to throw back to the weak side. He had one-on-one coverage. Now he's going to make a move. 15 yards before anybody had a chance.
Jed, down on this side of the field at the end of that game, Hannum did that to Slappy for that big gainer, set up the game-winning
right
field goal.
in that area.
He just
Absolutely.
He just got paybacks in a small way, anyways.
Key to that play, right? Your wide receiver's got to make a move. Slappy does. Now he goes back into the gun again, standing at his own 18-yard line.
This time, shotgun double slot. Little draw play.
Henry puts his head down to the 10-yard line. Tough gain of 3.
The nice thing they did with the shotgun is most teams get in the shotgun and they're going to throw like 98% of the time. They're going to run quarterback draw. They just ran a halfback draw. They'll run power sweep.
Kieran Cannanaugh in on the stop for Strath Haven.
He'll take off to the left side and fake the handoff and send some time out of that as well. And that's going to be awful tough to get him out of that situation.
They say well-designed offense.
Well, they've obviously broken down the film and really studied what they could do against Strath Haven, and they're doing a great job right now.
2nd and 7 now for West Allegheny. I'll go back, has all day. Now he runs out of time and just throws it away. Smart move, looking for Craig in the end zone. Give the offensive line credit, I mean, and give the Strath Haven secondary credit because they really did just lock that down a little bit. There was nowhere for Palco to go.
No question about it. He's a smart quarterback. Instead of taking a sack, he threw it away. They can't get anything here. They got a good field goal kicker.
If you're a head coach, you got to feel good about a guy making over 40 career starts, you know? It's not a bad deal.
Especially
doesn't happen every day.
You have him down in the basement doing film breakdown with you every night as well.
Father and son.
A lot of quarterback meetings.
Over the dinner table in the leg as Palco drops on 3rd down. Touchdown. Slappy into the end zone. That was a rocket shot. And he beat Connor to the spot. And Tyler Palco.
Now that was a Division I throw if ever I've seen one.
Threw a rope in there.
He threw a rocket.
Exactly. He sprinted left, looked left, and threw back.
5-play, 33-yard drive, 2:04.
You got muddle huddle.
Javarone looking for the 14th point, 2:49 to go here in this opening quarter. We've got all kinds of movement up there. We still have 6 seconds. They're still not in any danger. Snap down, the kick for Javarone. Bang, right down the middle again. It's almost automatic. 14-0 now. West Allegheny, and let's look at this throw. He's a cool customer in there.
It's a quick release that he's learned.
That was a laser shot.
Well, Tyler went to the elite quarterback camp out on the West Coast that's put on by Nike and run by Student Sports. And you invite the top 7 quarterbacks in the country. Smoker was there a couple years ago, and you go there and you get work with Coach Johnson.
Tyler Palco and Bob Palco together as father and son and coach and quarterback for the final time. And what does Bob Palco feel about that?
Be quite honest with you, we really haven't discussed it. We haven't talked about it. But, you know, when we do, I mean, you know, it's time for him to spread his wings. It's time to move on to bigger and better things. So I don't have a problem with any of that. You know, I mean, that's just the way it has to be. And although I'd like to have him back for another year or two, but, you know, time to spread his wings a little bit.
The senior.
Next up, University of Pittsburgh, and the reason he chose Pitt, close proximity, really comfortable with what Hall Harris has been doing down there.
I would imagine that Coach Harris also said, you'll be my quarterback the next 4 years as well.
They'll be battling Rod Rutherford. Don't they have somebody else coming in from Western PA, Pitt, this year?
Luke Getzey out of Steel Valley.
14-0, and here we go. Strath Haven needs to get a big return to tilt this field a little bit. He'll come from 2 yards into the end zone.
No
he
need
won't.
for a pooch kick when you do that.
Yeah, you got the leg. Go ahead and kick it out of that end zone.
Let's go down to Gary Sutton on the sideline and see what he has for us. Gary?
Well, Jed, as an old basketball coach, I remember saying one time, the better your eyes, the smaller the court becomes. I suspect it's the same in football. When you watch Palco set up that last pass, he looked everything off to the far side of the field, something a lot of quarterbacks without his kind of savvy can do. Came back in that great crossing pattern and found Slappy in the end zone. Big time throw, big time quarterback, and 14-0 with 2:49 to go in the first quarter. Jed?
Big possession here for Strathaven. I mean, they got to move some chains and make things happen.
Yeah, they got to be in semi-shock at this point. Let's see how they respond.
They'll go with Moore, and he's into the clear. He's got a first down, and that's a good start. A gain of 12.
They responded pretty well.
Hargreaves blew it open for him, and he got in there and got a first down for Strathaven, and they need a little more of that coming up the mountain now. 14 points.
And now it bounced to their step. That's just your basic straight ahead.
Well, Nick Hargreaves, 6'4", 235. He puts a little weight on. He's a great blocker, great athlete in the line of scrimmage. And John Lone from the Delaware paper was telling us last night, you know, this is a kid that's got real potential next year to get some real good looks.
Double tight end.
They're going to try and mash it, I think, a little bit, and then mix in some play action. But if they do that, nothing there. And guess who? Mike Craig. How good's his start? How about fascinating and fabulous? He's really been tough.
I tell you, when you're a little bit out, man, that's an equalizer. Take some chances and blitz.
So they lose 4, and it's now 2nd and 14. There's Connor on the season. Only a sophomore. He has an older brother that went to Boston College. His brother Mike, 45-1 as a starter at quarterback. Now Miller is back, throws for Hannum. That's the second time they've gone to that area of the field. Same route, same result. Pass almost in an identical position, incomplete.
Wow, he's struggling right now to get the ball out there.
I think the great pass rush is throwing off his timing.
He seems to be hurrying a little bit, and that's what happens.
If I'm
He's
Coach
covered pretty
Palco, I'm
good.
holding my breath. He got one-on-one coverage. He has great confidence in his D-backs.
Strathaven is 0 for 4 on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 14. There's Bob Palco talking to Joe Slappy right there. They'll bring Hannum on Deontay Henry. That's to the top of your screen underneath the score logo. That's the guy you always want to keep an eye on, and it looks like West Allegheny may have jumped
Encroachment.
Tom Tinney that time. He's a junior.
Encroachment, defense.
Okay, we're going to do a replay now of a false start.
Replay, 3rd down.
There it is. He didn't touch anybody, but if you cross the line of scrimmage at the high school level, right?
Once you cross that imaginary plane, it's an automatic stoppage of play and a 5-yard penalty. It's a little easier now, 3rd and 9.
Still not that easy. the way this defense is attacking, I guess they're going to take a guess who's going to get the ball and go after them. Look, they're all packed up.
They're packed up.
Double handoff. This will be Davis trying to get to the corner. Miller leading the way as the quarterback. First down, still going and still chewing it up to midfield. How about the quarterback, Miller, getting out on the break that time? He's the guy that sets the block. We'll let you draw it up, and a gain of 17 and a first down and a big conversion here. But watch number 14, the quarterback, lead the way here, Mike. He's off screen right now.
Not too many quarterbacks will do that.
That's the play.
Yeah, look at that block. All that shows he's a great lacrosse player. Those guys are tough. That's that classic inside reverse.
Crazy and tough when you're playing lacrosse.
Running around with a big stick, a big oak stick in your hand.
So you can shut this Delaware wing tee down and then get hit with one of those inside reverses.
That's the numbers going in. 915 yards. He tacked on a big 17-yard chain moving first down on a double handoff. Miller back. First down, head his heel. Let's go. And almost intercepted. Just turning around was Ozanich, and he almost had it.
There's Stefanski again, just putting pressure on Miller. Look, he stepped out of that block.
There's Connor, the fullback. He just walked right around him, said, no, we'll put pressure here, thanks.
Tight end was breaking open, but he never had time.
2nd and 10 now at the 49-yard line.
Yeah, I think Miller just has to keep his composure here.
The possible downside of all this gambling and playing so many guys in a box, you're susceptible to the big play.
Strath can definitely put that on you in a hurry. Here's Hannum. They get him his first touch. He steps forward. Good positive yardage to about the 46-yard line. Gain of 5. This is one of the top players in the state. You've got to put the ball in his hands.
First touch in the first 12 minutes of the 11 minutes of the game, and you just got to give the ball in his hands.
He's a difference maker. I mean, he's single-handedly get him back into this thing. They're down by 14. Final minute. The wind is not a factor. I mean, you can't have better conditions than we have tonight.
God, this is beautiful.
Here at the Hershey Park Stadium.
It's cool like it should have been the whole fall.
You have Hannum split out. But you're right. If you can't get him the ball passing, you got to bring him into the backfield and give him some reps.
I think they had to use a timeout. They were coming up, or they may be called for a delay of game. Let's see what the huddle is all about, and then we'll get the official call. Robert Finnicky is our official tonight, head referee for this AAA championship game.
Delay of game, offense.
Let me ask you this, with all these personnel moves and all that, do delay of games and all that drive you crazy?
Drive you crazy.
Totally?
Well, because they're drive killers. I mean,
looks like Coach Palco and his assistant are out on the field because of it was not a timeout.
Well,
but the Strath
coaches were on the field,
and
so they automatically felt, hey, we're going to go out and talk to our kids.
Replay third down.
Let's go to Gary Sutton. Gary?
A question for Mike Patton right now is, with this big pass rush that West Allegheny's bringing every time, when do you start going to draw plays? When do you start going to screens?
Well, I think you throw the ball to Hannum, the quick outs. You're right, throwing some draw plays, come back with the screen, but remember the screen pass was picked off. So they might be shell-shocked in calling a screen pass. There's the quick out.
To Davis, got a corner, still going to the 40, kept his feet in and tight ropes it to the 31 and wipes out some press row at the same time. Pretty nice looking stuff here as he got the corner and bites off about 16 or 17 yards.
Let's look at this. He really tight roped.
That was a three-step quick out. Right now, almost looked like a little pick play. Nice balance on the sideline. Three-step. All you had was an underneath pier. Outside man went in, got a little pick down the sideline.
Well, you like Davis against Stefanski. Davis got great speed.
Strath putting together a big drive. Miller back, rolling, looking, throwing, got more yards after the catch. Step around move, still going, still chewing it up to the 9. First and goal, Strath and a gain of 24. Well, they're going to the backs now. Strath has found the adjustment.
It's got the makings of that shootout that we had last year already now.
They'll set it up. And
Coach Clancy's saying you're going to put all those guys up on the line of scrimmage.
Here you go. You can see it again from the end zone.
Nice move, second effort. Good balance.
Gordon, I told you I really like this young man. 92 carries for 552 yards and 10 touchdowns. And a big catch out of the backfield, and they're knocking on the door, down by 14. But they're showing some life here at the end of the first quarter of play. Delighted to have you tonight on Pennsylvania's Championship Network. Jed Donahue, along with Sports Fever Magazine's Gordon Blaine and Mike Penton Sr. It's so nice to have, we're working with you this weekend. We've been so used to covering you and backseat driving on you here when you've been at West.
I'm a rookie, so you guys have to help me along here.
So, but we are
a little
thrilled.
more comfortable down on the field.
We are thrilled. But you're used to having a headset anyway, but we're working
I never wore a headset. Couldn't handle a headset.
But anyway, 141 cable systems representing 2.8 million homes and 9 million state residents. That's today's television audience for the Pennsylvania 2001 PIAA Football Championships. Hello to all family, friends, and fans in the Commonwealth associated with this high school championship. Let's check in with Gary Sutton before we get our big goal-to-go play here, starting first and goal at the 9. Gary?
Well, we're starting to sense that same kind of surge we saw last season in this big game, and I think Gordon hit it right on the head. I think we're in for a good one here as good answer so far by the Strath Haven team, showing a lot of character. And down 2 scores, he's got to think this is a defining moment in the game for them.
Strath Haven, 46 yards in the air, 44 by run. West Allegheny, 30 by pass. Keep in mind, 10 of which a touchdown pass to Slappy from Palco, and only 7 on the ground. Hand off, Davis, not much room. Got hit initially in there by Stefanski rather, the junior.
And guess who? Mr. Craig again. What a whale of a game he's had.
Mr. Craig, big-time player.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's the one got there first, didn't he, guys?
He's shooting the gap whenever
They're shooting the gap.
Yep.
I don't know whether that's a flow fire or a predetermined blitz call, but in either case, it ends up looking like a blitz.
Hey, why not go for broke here?
Well, you got to gamble. Once they get in the red zone, you know, you can't be conservative on defense.
But you came here the last 2 years and lost. Why not go ahead and just go for everything here? And then you got to admire Coach Palco and his game plan.
Man up, get close, and attack. There's the fullback trap.
Connor all the way to the 2-yard line. That's been a main staple in the playbook for Strath Haven in this 3-year championship run that they've been on. Just blow it behind the big guy there, the big tackle, Spangler.
That's
And
just
he'll
one
do
of
the
the
rest.
staple plays of the Delaware Wing T, that fullback trap.
And it's awful tough to stop if you execute it right. It really is.
Money down, 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line for Strath Haven, down 14. To me, 2 downs to get a touchdown.
12th
Not
play,
even worrying about a field goal in
12th
here.
play of the drive.
12th play of the drive upcoming, as you're saying. That's a big loss because he's been the guy shooting gaps, so he has to sit out a play. Coming in for him is Stefanski. Just give it to Connor again here, Mike.
Quarterback sneak looks open, but they're going off tackle.
There's more flying into the Thunder, and touchdown, Strath Haven. They're on the board. Impressive 12-play drive to answer it back.
It didn't matter what they ran that time. The entire offensive front got a great surge. You see bodies getting knocked down.
McGarity came over and sealed off his guy, and
There's
that
the
opened
old
it up.
muddle huddle.
What does this really accomplish?
I was going to say the same
I'm just
question.
asking.
I'm
I saw
sorry.
this last couple of years, and what's this
Well,
about?
if you're out of position, they're going to call an automatic. They're going to run an option. They're going to run a pass play. You can do 5 or 6 things off that muddle huddle.
Well, it worked that somebody had to call timeout here.
11 play, officially 80-yard drive now.
Oh my! I
We have
still
a tight end. I don't get all that.
you know, kick the extra point. Get out here and play some. Kick the ball in the end zone. Go play some defense.
But
if
you don't line up properly, it's like stealing. It's an easy 2 points.
So there's the touchdown again, and I'll tell you, they got all kinds of
I'll
surge there.
tell you what else from the coach. It makes you work on it for about a half an hour, so it takes away from your preparation time.
Well, I can buy into that. No, but did you ever go through with it?
We never ran the muddle huddle. Our guys weren't smart enough.
You can tell he doesn't want the CB West job back.
No, I just thought it took too much time to work on. And also, like you say, sometimes when you're shifting, you get a legal procedure and things of that nature. But if you want to spend time doing it, it can pay dividends. All right, they got some options here. Okay, they weren't there. Quarterback calls them back.
I just don't understand. Oh, well.
Well, he made a pretty compelling case.
So we take 50 minutes to do the extra point, and it's right down there.
He almost took the 0 out of the 10:32 there with that kick.
That was a rock. Is M. Miller kicking that?
No, that was Showman, right?
Showman, that's right.
Miller was holding.
Yeah, Showman, who won it last year with a field goal. Let's get out of Gary Sutton, Gary.
I kind of like the muddle huddle, guys. I think it's a great idea, and if I can make Mike Pettin practice something other than blocking and running, I'm a happy guy. If I get him to take a timeout, I'm even happier. So there you go.
Well, we hated those teams around the muddle huddle.
Some say that's the way Gary ran his basketball offense over Columbia.
The muddle huddle.
We never had the muddle huddle in basketball. Only when I had a timeout and no one understood what I said.
Which I'll stop there, Gary.
14-7. We got a heck of a first half going right now.
That second West Allegheny score seemed to be a real wake-up call for Strath Haven. It seems now they have more bounce in their step.
It's like that 9-minute snooze alarm, right? Time to get moving now. Short kick. This is going to go out of bounds, so that's automatic.
Okay.
1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. And if you're a kicker, you usually try and hide from the head coach after that happens. Am I right about that?
That's true, but sometimes I'm a little relieved if they have some speed burners back there that he didn't kick it deep.
So,
because sometimes you kick it deep, they return it to the 50. So, but yeah, consistently, you don't want to give them the ball on the 35-yard line.
So West Allegheny will go back on offense. Have they only had it once or twice? They've had it twice now. This will be their 3rd possession.
And they had short fields both times.
They've had real short fields. Their touchdown drive was at the Strath 33.
I love those splits.
Handoff is to Hawkins, who gets his first carry.
I'll tell you what, Dave Hawkins really has come around in the playoffs. I saw him against Hampton out of Pine Richland in the 2nd round of the WPIAA playoffs. Hampton was undefeated at the time, 10-0, and he had a big game there. And he's really kind of given a little bit extra punch. Another option in the backfield to go with Deontay Henry and, of course, Tyler Palco. Got 3 legitimate guys who can take off from him with the football.
10 touchdowns, what I was going to say, Gordon, to illustrate your point. 10 touchdowns all year, but 6 in back-to-back games in the WPIAA playoffs. So he has come alive, and it's been a huge lift for them. And 8 yards. Palco, I believe. Is that Henry in there, close to a 1st down?
That was a little inside trap, counter trap.
Nope, that's Hawkins again, getting off the stack. And screened off at 45.
You know, the purpose of the big splits is to hope that Strath Haven moves out and you create natural gaps. You know, if you have a mismatch in size, as West Allegheny does a little bit.
West Allegheny, of course, out
in coaching move.
Imperial, out near the airport, out near Pittsburgh International Airport. Not too far from Beaver County again.
Palco, quarterback sneak, the safe play. Just sneak it up right under center for 1st down. Ozenich, their center, 5'10", 200-pound junior.
Ooh, Connor really stuck Palco there. That's D1 on D1 there.
He's only a sophomore. He's going to get a lot of mail, obviously. That's coming.
Has already gotten a lot of mail.
I'll tell you.
Both the paper and electronic versions. I ran into a college coach earlier today who wanted to see him play linebacker.
Palco, a little power toss. Henry trying to get him outside. This time they get him free for a while to the 44. Give him about 8 yards. Well, this is where this is his game. Deontay Henry. He had a marvelous WPIAL final, and here he is in space.
Right now, notice that subtle little cut. Hit the shoulder square. He tried to get a straight arm in there. Good run. Gordon, have you seen West Allegheny? You've seen them before, I'm sure, but take these very large splits.
Yes, they have.
There's Henry on the years. You can see on your screen.
Although they may have stretched it out even more, though, Coach. They do take the splits.
Hawkins barrels forward for a 1st down. Check that, not Hawkins. That's Cody Mullins. See, I thought when they lost Kellen Campbell, I was just curious how they're going to be able to replace the running game. It looks like Bob Palco has more than spackled that together.
Well, those Campbell kids were tough players, and they really were the heart and soul of that team. But this, you got a quarterback like this, you can do so much. We haven't even seen the short passing package when he throws it out on a rope out here, 25 yards on a line, 5 yards down the field.
Quick quarterback draw and nothing doing. What a sensational play defensively that time. I believe that's Joe Bowman, the outside linebacker, who sniffed that out. Wow. Mano on mano here.
I tell you, they got a little cute on that one and it backfired. They tried the quarterback draw. They pulled a couple linemen. That allowed Strath Haven to penetrate.
On 4th and 2, I think they are going to go for it.
I'll tell you, Jed, Joe Bowman doesn't always start for the Panthers, but he's come up with a couple big plays defensively tonight already.
He almost got a fumble there. That ball just jostled a little bit on Palco. So we'll see if they'll let the clock run down, and then they're going to use a timeout. 6:44 left. Let's go down to Gary Sutton and see what Gary has. Gary?
Well, you know, I'll throw it back up to Mike Pettin very quickly, and it's an interesting time of the game right here that, you know, you feel if you're West Allegheny almost like you have to answer that last drive, and you kind of hate to end it right here at 4th and 2. Coach, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, this is a big call. I would tend to go for it. They're the underdogs. They got to try something different. They've been successful the last couple times against Strath Haven, so why not take some chances? On the other hand, if it backfires, it gives Strath Haven great field position to go down for the potential tie.
Well, you just had a team march 80 yards at 12 plays. Looks like they're kind of a juggernaut again, and you don't want to give that back up. But, you know, as you said, the underdog right now, West Allegheny, and you really are trying to recapture momentum that you lost a few moments ago. Big play coming up.
There's no question. I think a straight-ahead dive is a pretty good gamble. Let's see what they do.
Well, that's a big call already.
It's a little too far for a quarterback sneak.
Why not run the option?
Yeah, they might run him wide a little bit.
Option could be a good call.
But
you know, if I'm defensing this team, I got a spy certainly on Tyler. He's going to have to pitch the ball.
Here he comes, rolling, looking, throwing, pass, caught, first down, and more to the 29. Mike Craig is on it. And it's a gain of 14 and a first down. How about that throw for a first down? I would have thought that. Beautifully set up, though, by Palco with a play fake.
Coach Palco, take him down to the casino. He's a gambler. And that was a hot call.
Yeah, but that's
4th and 1.
When you got that kind of quarterback, why not? Well, he's wide open there.
And still, that was not an easy pass. I mean, you had a drag pattern going high speed and pretty good coverage. You know, he had to thread the needle.
Palco will step into the shotgun now. West Allegheny converting. Now he's going to run it. Slides forward. He's got a little more power than you think to the 23, 24-yard line. Dan Connor is in on the stop.
That was a quarterback draw all the way.
You just said
he got 5 yards. That was on the second effort. That's about the 3rd time they've run the play, and actually Strath Haven has pretty much keyed in on that every time he's run it. As I say, he got that on all by himself.
You sense, though, that he feels the importance of them answering that Strath Haven touchdown.
No question.
And he's playing like it right now. They've got a complete full package. They're coming at you from all directions.
They're not playing conservative.
Palco, quick handoff, going to be Henry. There just isn't much there. And another tackle is made by Kiernan Cannanaugh, 5'11", 185 pounds. Cannanaugh's been all over, number 55 in white here for Strath Haven.
On the plus side, you're in 4-down territory. How about their field goal kicker? How good is he?
Oh, he's great. Derek Javarone, one of the best in the state.
They're in range.
He was a preseason All-State kicker.
14-7 as we come to the 5-minute mark, as you can see, and there's Deontay Henry. They haven't really gotten him loose, but once here.
One option is to try something just to put him in field goal position, but looks like he's going for the entire first down.
Here's on 3rd and 6. Pass thrown, caught, Slappy, first down, all the way down to the 17-yard line. And another rope. Let's go to Gary. Gary.
One of the great things you got to love about Palco, watch him step up here if you got a replay, looks left again, and then fires back to the near side. I mean, he sets everything up with his eyes, and then, of course, Slappy makes a great catch, but he puts it right where the defense can't get to it.
Gary, you're right in paying him some compliments, because in high school, most of the time, you just tell your secondary, read the quarterback's eyes. But with him, it's going to get you in the wrong position.
Well, he can go to a 2nd or 3rd hot look, right? I mean, that's what makes him a special talent, but that's 40-plus starts.
That's the advantage of the shotgun. Here goes that little run. This time it breaks open.
And here's where it's most dangerous, to the 10, to the 5, and out of bounds at the 3-yard line. And here comes West Allegheny again. It's a gain of 14, and it's 1st and goal. West Allegheny at the Strath Haven 3, and here he is again on the run this time.
Actually, the hole was clogged up. He just made a great athletic move to the outside. Then got a bunch of yards out of nothing. 1st and goal.
12th play of the drive upcoming here for the Indians. That's a special player we're looking at right there. I mean, good camera work, too, by our crew here working these games this weekend. Quick handoff. Hawkins didn't really get out well. Tripped up there. right into the back door of Dan Connor.
What do you say? This is fullback territory, but they don't seem to have the size of some of the fullbacks that we've seen here. But that tailback, he runs hard.
That's a big counterpunch here by West Allegheny, isn't it, Coach? After
Absolutely.
it looked like Strath Haven had the momentum back and kind of playing the game again at their volume.
Well, they still have to get it in here.
Cody Mullins into the game. He's the short man. Hand off Hawkins. He's been the touchdown maker, and it's another touchdown for Hawkins. His 7th of the postseason, his 11th overall on the year, and it's 20-7 West Allegheny. An impressive 13-play drive for a touchdown. And mixed a little bit of everything in there.
That was a big-time drive, and I think that was Tyler Palco. You just left him make play after play there. That 4th down conversion, that was a beautiful pass. He made the run off the shotgun. Wow.
Where's Javerone going? Kicker.
Well, you know,
Anybody
kickers, they don't really get offered scholarships, so he'll have to kind of feel his way around.
Kick is good.
I think that was a very good job by the holder here.
But here's the
eye formation, shoulders upfield, just get in the end zone.
Notice Manny Rojas in there throwing some blocks on the line of scrimmage there.
All-state candidate at center. I don't think there's any doubt. It's either linebacker or center.
Wasn't Manny Rojas the guy that had to move from tight end? Played another position?
I think he's been all over he's played a bunch of positions.
I think he may have moved there and given up a tight end position just to help the team out.
Kevin Clancy, the head coach at Strath Haven's got a 44-game winning streak coming into this game. 2 consecutive state championships and now down by 2 touchdowns. 21-7 with 3:42 left. But you got to give West Allegheny has just looked fabulous in this first half.
Well,
they've looked great.
Here's yet another good plus for the Indians. They're draining the clock. And Strath Haven isn't the kind of team that's going to score in a minute or 2 plays. I mean, they need 5-6 minutes to drive the football with that wing T. Again, we see a wing T team getting behind, and that's trouble for a wing T offense.
And I think we're seeing West Allegheny say, basically, we can't take away everything. We're going to force you to pass. And while we're doing that, we're going to put a lot of heat on you. Their ends are coming hard. Their D-line in a 3-point stance and just attacking.
Hannum and Davis are deep. Javerone has managed to get in the end zone the last 2 kickoffs and another
here we have a return.
But here's Davis. Here he comes from the 8. And he was 1 step away from really making it happen. All the way to the 32-yard line. Shoestring tackle. Otherwise, he was a total handful from there.
26-yard return on that kick return.
Making the play on that.
Nice blocking inside.
It was Stefanski, to be honest. He may have saved a touchdown with that. Because Davis was in the clear.
I think they had a safety man remaining.
You know, they're going to come after Miller now. He better be ready to get unloaded. I think they need some real quick short passes.
Henry and Hannum one-on-one.
They got end over, unbalanced line, quick trap.
Connor, nothing there to the 34-yard line. Maybe a yard. That is it. 3 timeouts remaining, I believe, for Strath Haven. Yes. But again, this first half is flying along.
Well, that would be something to take 2 touchdown lead into the locker room for the underdog.
I don't know how much. Were they a huge underdog? 2-3 points, maybe?
I don't think it was a big underdog, but I would have said Strath Haven was the favorite in the game.
Dangerous pass, and I'll tell you, Henry, if that was lower, may have stepped in front of that. Incomplete, and Miller took a wallop. He was slow getting up.
I mean, that tells you something about the West Allegheny charge. That was basically a 3-step drop, and he had no time. Now, you're supposed to be able to get those passes off pretty easily.
Take a look at what he hit. It's Hope that hit him. Ooh, man, that was lucky he didn't have something break there. He got caught in the wash at the same time. 21-7, clock stopped with 2:54 remaining. First half. Another 3rd and long for Strath Haven, although they've converted their last 2. Looking long for Hannum, and he overshot him. Well, the blitzing has just taken Miller off his game. He is just not comfortable back there.
The timing isn't there. It's a great defensive game plan thus far.
And they'll have to punt, and 250 is a lifetime. He's 2 for 9 throwing, but 250 with this offense scored is a lifetime. I mean, they can move around.
Well, we saw them drive down the field in the last couple minutes of last year's game to tie it up so they can go to the 2-minute drill. You know, they really went to a no-huddle offense earlier in the season. Let's see if they pull it back out of mothballs.
High snap. Hannum athletically pulls it in. High spiraling punt. Pretty good kick. Palco, fair catches at the 27. 38-yard punt for Hannum. And let's check in with Gary. Gary?
Well, you know, in statement response football, which we're watching tonight, Strath Haven misses their first big response right here. It'll be interesting to see now with 2:41 to go what West Allegheny could do with it. You know, they're really juiced down here on the sideline. Do you go for the big hit again, or do you start to just kind of milk this 13, 14-point lead that you have?
Interesting, and let's put the equation together for you, Mike. 1 timeout remaining.
Well, with a quarterback like Tyler Palco, you're trying to get another score. I mean, with that weapon and some of his wideouts, you can mix in a few running plays. You have plenty of time, but basically you're going to go down the field on his arm.
In the legs of Deontay Henry, step around move into the clear, has 5S10 and a first down to the 38-yard line. A gain of 11.
Well, you get your defense, no matter how good they are, you keep them on the field.
That's a good call. You have time to mix in a few runs.
You keep your defenses on the field for a long time, like Strath Haven's has been, and then you start getting some holes.
The other nice thing about popping a run in there, you know, if you're the coordinator for Strath Haven, you basically have them in pass type prevent at this point. So those running lanes should be a little more open.
I'm surprised he didn't go to no huddle, but I guess they feel like 2 minutes is plenty of time.
No need to hurry. They definitely don't want to leave any time for Strath Haven maybe to counter. Here's Hawkins again, and he's got 10 more yards, and a flag falls. They might have a face mask down there right around midfield, or a block in the back. That could be either one.
That official must be an ex-quarterback. He threw that thing about 30 yards.
He did have pretty good turtle on.
You know, we thought that Strath Haven could.
Let's go ahead, Gordon. Finish.
Strath Haven could have a clear advantage on the line of scrimmage, and now they've gotten behind, and they've been on the field a lot, and now they're coming right out and running right at them. They're really making a statement. We're in charge here of this football game right now. You got to like the way they've come right at them.
They must have gotten a block in the back right around midfield there.
The thing we saw Gordon on film was a little advantage for Strath Haven, but we can't factor in the emotional level they're going to show up with. And so it looks like West Allegheny, they just want more at this time.
Red, 10 yards, replay first down.
So Strath Haven, short week. Let's check in with Kevin Clancy, their head coach.
know till you're out there, but we've had a good week of practice, and how can you be tired for a state championship game? I mean, you know, we're excited to play in this one.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
There he is. Short week, short answer.
Well, he's not a man of a lot of words, that's for sure, Coach Clancy, but he sure does get the job done.
1st and 9. After the penalty, takes it back to the West Allegheny 40-yard line. Quick draw to Hawkins. Hawkins bounces forward to about the 45. Got half of it back. Second, let's call it about 4.
It's a real chess game here. Coach Palco is saying, hey, you think we're going to pass? We're going to run the ball at you.
Into the game for West Allegheny right now is going to be Ryan Coleman, a senior.
I'll tell you, in high school football, though, Coach, you know this, when you can complete some passes, you can show people you can catch or throw and catch. It just opens up all kinds of things for you.
Absolutely.
Palco will go into the shotgun, then calls a quick timeout with 1:09 remaining here in the half.
Clock was down to 2 seconds, and he just didn't like the way they were going to go about this. But he is so pumped up. He just chewed his teammates for that penalty. He is just fired up. They knew they had to keep the energy tank charged, and they've done that.
This is what I've noticed. Besides a great talent, he's a tremendous leader. And I think his teammates respect him so much. And he can chew them out. He also pats them on the back. He's like a coach on the field.
Let's go to Gary Sutton. Gary?
Well, Jed, in talking to the people from Pittsburgh down here, one of the things that they're really impressed with is the fact that the last 3 games, West Allegheny has really not been able to run the ball very well. And I know Coach Palco's got to really be impressed and happy tonight with the kind of running game he's getting, particularly here in the second half of the second quarter. Running game turning it on right now, but you got to think it's passing time here if they're going to think about scoring with 1:09 to go, and still a lot of real estate to traverse.
21-7 the score. Well, that's the last time out for West Allegheny, so their options could get limited here. And replay action, Palco back, rolling, looking, throws, pass, caught. Got the big tight end, Mike Craig, is having a big first half, all the way down to the 38-yard line.
Excellent call. Fake the draw. Semi-roll. Perfect strike on the drag pattern.
So the ball at the 38 and a first down for West Allegheny. And for Strath, I mean, this is a huge moment in this game. They've got to have a stop here before the break.
I mean, they're close to field goal range, which would be huge if you don't get the touchdown.
Palco into the gun. Back again. Blitz is coming. Conley throws a little screen. Henry, if he can get loose, is going to really go. 25, 20, jumps to the 15-yard line and a gain of 23 yards.
There's a hanky on the green.
And that might come back. Gary, you were down there. What happens? We got a penalty on West Allegheny, right?
Well, they had a big-time block, it looked like, by number 55, Dave Mulvihill, but they may well have called that a crackback. We'll see what they call.
I think the blocker, or the defender was blocked, and then somebody came and teed off of him again.
I didn't see it, but I tell you,
here we go. We got it again, guys. It's 55. There it is on Owen McGarity.
Get it back above the waist.
Good work by our crew, as always.
First down. 10 yards from here.
I was about to say, what really impressed me was how Tyler hung in there the last split second before he threw that screen. Looked like he was going to get sacked. He drew everybody in and threw a nice touch pass.
All right, what do you
executed
think?
play, except for right there, I see it, 55 making a block in the back.
Mulvihill, a junior.
No backs.
42 seconds left. Henry, the motion man. He steps around Palco, back down the middle. Slappy, caught, dropped, almost intercepted on the way through. Should have had that at the 12.
Another laser shot. I mean, was that on the money or what?
Just watching him, Meyer, Slappy. Heard footsteps.
Tough catch, but that ball was right in there.
He used the body a little bit more to catch that ball, knowing he got front and back.
He just looked like he jumped too soon, was a little bit off balance.
There's a lot of speed in that secondary for Strath. They sure closed quickly on that.
We got to prevent defense all the way.
Palco quickly, and they go out of bounds. That's Luke Palco, Palco to Palco.
You got to love it, the West Allegheny fans chanting Luke, Luke, Luke.
You think there are a lot of football conversations at the dinner table in that house?
Such great tradition in this state. That's a 14th year of the PIAA football championships. It's grown by leaps and bounds since it began in 1988. Mike Pettin Sr. is our analyst this weekend here on PCN. Has been in a few of these frays. Couple?
Yeah, I kind of go way back. 1991 was our first experience. You didn't have to play as many games to get there. That time was in Altoona.
How big is the grind, the 15th week?
It wears on you.
Yeah?
I mean, you know, it's over, and all of a sudden, hey, you have to do your Christmas shopping, and then you have a little Christmas break, and you come back, and it's time to start the weight program up again. It's like, when do you get a break?
We talked
but it's well worth it, obviously.
All right, the time's getting a little dicey now at 28 seconds. You got
about a yard.
Yep.
It's going to be third and short.
You get the first down, the clock stops and move the chains.
Yeah, unlike pro or things, you do get that.
I think you get a first down here and then you spike the ball so you can get yourself set.
You you get a first down and the clock's going to stop here, you get a play off, and then if you complete it, then you spike the ball.
Right.
Go back, looks, throws, got his first down. Slappy crawls out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Smart play, and that'll stop the clock.
I thought his knee hit before he got out, but West Allegheny got what they wanted.
They get a total clock stoppage, whereas they would have just got a temporary stoppage to move the chains.
Well, it was right on the line. They're well within Javerone's range here.
In field goal range.
Boy, that's a weapon at this level. When you got a guy that can consistently get it close.
He's in his range.
45, no question.
Yeah, he can kick a field goal here.
Best kicker in the big school bracket?
No, there's a couple of them.
Couple, really? I hear it's a deep year.
A couple good kickers.
Set over to Palco now. Looks, throws down the middle, or down the sideline, I should say, and incomplete for Slappy with 19 seconds remaining.
Well, they're getting their money's worth. Strath Haven came with a double linebacker fire here. They're feeling we have to put more heat on this young man. Blocking hung in there, though. They picked it up.
There's Derek Javerone, number 8. Numbers on the year as far as he goes. Looking at them, what are the... There he is. He's 44, 45 in point after, 9 for 17 in field goals. Flags are down. See what this is all about with 19 seconds to go.
They didn't get the count.
Delay of game, red. Replay, second down.
Well, that makes that field goal.
Well, that's especially frustrating when the 25-second clock is right there.
That'll go back to the 30-yard line. 21-7. West Allegheny leads Strath Haven right now. Big interception return to start the game. 20-some yards with Mike Craig. 10-yard touchdown pass, Palco to Slappy. And Hawkins ran it in. Palco over the middle, intercepted by Connor, and he's got some room to roam to the corner. And finally, they get him out of bounds, and should have been a late hit on Palco out of bounds. He was clearly out, but that should be it for the first half. But Connor with a huge play to keep Strath Haven in the area code in this game.
And a tremendous drop. The linebacker normally gets to about 12. I think he's much deeper.
He had plenty of time. He just lost him in there.
This is an excellent job. That's just what you want from your middle linebacker.
And he was definitely clearly hit out of bounds.
Deep drop. Keep your eyes on the quarterback. Yeah, that was.
Should have been a 15-yard penalty there, but.
Well, we're going to be in a prevent. Now we're just going to run the football and try to sneak one down the sideline.
Davis slides across midfield, and that should be the end of, well, out of bounds he goes. So they have a chance at one more play so they can do a Hail Mary into the end zone.
I don't think so. I think he just runs another sweep.
You wouldn't go to the, you might as well go to the end zone. Why not?
I don't know if he can get it there. He's going to take a big drop. They're going to come after him.
Strange things happen when you put up those Hail Marys.
Well, that's true.
It's like a winning lottery ticket if you can hit one of these.
Now, I'd be concerned, number 8 here, I'd be giving some double coverage, which they have him covered under and deep.
Yeah, they've got him doubled down. Flags are down. Tom Tinney is in a battle for West Allegheny with Jeff Milligan, the all-state guard for Strath Haven. Milligan, a great player.
False start, White. 5 yards, replay first down.
Oh, a little hook and ladder play here.
That's a possibility. No matter what you do, I think you have to figure that Hannum is the guy that can get you this near impossible.
They also got Lenny Carter.
50-some yards you need.
A lot of speed with Lenny Carter. And he's tackled, that'll be it. We have come to the end of the first half of play. We'll have first half highlights, interview, point, counterpoint, and the like. 21-7, West Allegheny storms into the locker room with all the momentum, leading by 14. You're watching exclusive coverage of the 2001 PIAA Football Championships. This is the Pennsylvania Cable Network, Pennsylvania's championship network. Back with more in Hershey after this.
You're watching PIAA Championship Football exclusively on PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network.
The PIAA is a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation organized on a membership basis. Membership includes most of the public and many private high schools in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The PIAA develops and enforces rules which are authorized by the member schools to regulate interscholastic athletic competition. The PIAA was formed in 1913 by a group of high school principals to establish uniform rules, eliminate abuses, and place interscholastic athletics in the overall context of secondary education. The purposes of the PIAA are defined in Article 2 of its Constitution. They are to organize, develop, and direct an interscholastic athletic program which will promote, protect, and conserve the health and physical welfare of all participants, to formulate and maintain policies that will safeguard the educational values of interscholastic athletics and cultivate the high ideals of good sportsmanship, and to promote uniformity of standards in all interscholastic athletic competition. The PIAA believes that the student athlete is best served by a system which emphasizes the amateur, educational, and character-building aspects of high school sports, a system which recognizes that athletics is not the driving force, but rather that students are in school primarily to obtain an education. The membership of the PIAA consists of approximately 1,300 schools, divided almost equally between senior high schools and junior high middle schools. Of that membership, approximately 150 are private schools. Nearly 250,000 students participate in interscholastic athletics under the PIAA each year, placing Pennsylvania 7th in the United States for the 1997-98 school year. The four major areas in which the PIAA currently operates are the following: establishment and enforcement of rules governing the eligibility of high school athletes to participate in interscholastic athletics. These include rules for academic performance, attendance requirements, transfer students, pre-participation physical evaluations, age, and amateur status. Organizing and operating 27 post-regular season playoffs and championships in 10 girls sports, and 31 post-regular season playoffs and championships in 11 boys sports. Adopting the playing rules for each sport under its jurisdiction. With the exception of bowling, golf, girls lacrosse, rifle, and tennis, all other playing rules adopted by the PIAA are published by the National Federation of State High School Associations, of which the PIAA has been a member since 1925. Registering and training officials to officiate at contests in which the PIAA member schools participate. Nearly 13,000 officials are currently registered with the PIAA. The PIAA's principal source of revenue is the sale of tickets to its playoffs and championships. Gate receipts enable the PIAA to operate without taxpayer financing. The PIAA also provides services to its members on a day-to-day basis through its headquarters in Upper Allen Township, Cumberland County, near Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. The PIAA assists member schools and families by providing the student-athlete with opportunities for achievement.
Hello, and welcome to the Pennsylvania Cable Network. We're delighted to join with you in celebrating high school athletics in the Commonwealth. Everything that we do here at PCN, from our daily coverage of the General Assembly to programs exploring manufacturing, from carriage of significant Pennsylvania events to our satellite distribution across the state, all of this is made possible by Pennsylvania cable television companies which carry our network on their channel lineup. Often at PCN, we'll list the names and service areas of local cable TV providers. These are the community-minded companies which voluntarily pay a monthly fee to cover network programming and operating costs. PCN receives no state funding. We are supported instead through the generosity of cable systems which make PCN available to their subscribers. In watching high school sports on PCN, we hope you'll remember the commitment of Pennsylvania cable television companies. They're the ones that make this network and today's programming possible.
Homework Help on PCN is a live 2-hour interactive call-in program for students in grades 1 through 12.
You got to get your homework done. This is the show to watch.
State-certified teachers will work through math and science questions with students.
When two things are written side by side, what does it mean? Divide. So what I do to one side, I do to the other, and you're home free.
Homework Help on PCN airs throughout the school year on Sundays, live at 5 p.m. PIAA championships throughout the year exclusively on PCN. In February, team wrestling. In March, diving, swimming, wrestling, and boys and girls basketball. In May, track and field. In June, boys volleyball, girls spring soccer, baseball, and softball. In November, girls volleyball, field hockey, boys and girls soccer, and cross country. And rounding out the year in December, championship football. For additional high school sporting events, check our website at pcntv.com. Watch regular season high school basketball matchups live on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Friday nights at 7:30, it's regional hoops action on PCN's Game of the Week. PCN Game of the Week leads up to exclusive basketball championship coverage in March. High school wrestlers grapple all winter long on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Saturday nights at 9, PCN's Match of the Week features some of the best wrestling matchups from around the state. Catch the excitement of primetime high school wrestling Saturday nights, exclusively on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. The State Farm Show live on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Watch the championship rodeo, folk dance contest, livestock judging, horse and pony pulling competitions, cooking and wildlife demonstrations, the Sheep to Shawl event, and more as PCN presents sights and sounds of Pennsylvania's premier agricultural showcase. Around-the-clock coverage of the State Farm Show airs in January, exclusively on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. The Pennsylvania Cable Network, your exclusive home for PIAA State Championship sports. Throughout the scholastic season, the best high school teams and athletes compete for state gold on PCN. For a complete listing of championship dates and times, visit our website at pcntv.com. PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network. PCN tours of Pennsylvania manufacturers, museums, and historic sites air weekdays on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Here's this week's daily tour schedule. The Pennsylvania Cable Network's daily program schedule is available by email. To take advantage of this free service, send your email address to pcntv@pcntv.com. The Pennsylvania Cable Network is offering viewers a copy of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Legislative Directory. The booklet includes names, pictures, and information about the members of Pennsylvania's Senate and House of Representatives. The directory also provides information about committee assignments, the executive branch, and how to contact your state legislators. To receive your copy, write to the Pennsylvania Cable Network Legislative Directory, 401 Fallowfield Road, Camp Hill, PA 17011. Include a $5 check or money order payable to the Pennsylvania Cable Network. One directory per household, please. Teachers, feel free to record PCN for use in the classroom. Our programming includes coverage of House and Senate floor debates, public hearings, PCN profiles of prominent Pennsylvanians, PA books, interviews with authors on Pennsylvania topics, PCN tours of factories and museums, call-in programs featuring public officials discussing current events, and Pennsylvania history, including James Buchanan, the 15th President of the United States, and George Washington, a series with lesson plans on our website. PCN programming may be recorded for use in the classroom. College students majoring in communications or political science, the Pennsylvania Cable Network is now accepting internship applications for all semesters. Interns gain valuable hands-on experience and network with industry professionals. For more information about PCN and internship opportunities, visit our website at pcntv.com. To apply, email your resume or send it to Pennsylvania Cable Network, 401 Fallowfield Road, Camp Hill, PA 17011. The Pennsylvania Cable Network's daily program schedule is available by email. To take advantage of this free service, send your email address to pcntv@pcntv.com. PCN's exclusive coverage of PIAA Championship football continues on PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network.
Welcome back to Hershey Park Stadium, where it's halftime here. West Allegheny leads over Strath 21-7. I'm Gary Sutton. And with me on the right here, Fort Chapman, who coached the state championship team here with Bishop McDevitt, and now with Susquehanna High School right here in the local area. And Dave, you take the part of Strath here this game at halftime. You're down by 14 points. It's a real knockdown, drag 'em out game. It looked like maybe the coffin nail was going to be pounded, but you get an interception at half. Take a little bit of momentum into the locker room. Tell me what you're telling the players in there.
Well, without a doubt, they weathered the storm there right at the end of the half. I thought they did a nice job battling back and mixing up the run and pass to get that touchdown to make it 14-7. The big thing is, can they throw enough to get back in it? They're a running team predominantly, some good skill guys in the backfield, but can this quarterback, who's in his first year starting, get the job done through the air when a West Allegheny defense knows they're going to be throwing?
How much of a sense of urgency do you have right now if you're Strath Haven, you're down by 14 points to an obviously fired up West Allegheny team?
Well, first of all, you got to stop them on this first possession of the second half, because West Allegheny is going to receive, and then you got to get the ball back and take it down. You can afford to mix it up, run and pass then. But if you don't score on your first possession and West Allegheny chews a little clock, you're forced to go to the air, and I think it's going to be tough for them to win it that way.
Jim Cantafio, it's been statement response football so far. The response was the interception at the end of the half, but you're up by 14 points. You're Bob Palco here at halftime. What are you telling your club?
Well, you got Palco and Slappy. I'll tell you what, they are two tremendous football players. Palco might be one of the best overall football players in the state of Pennsylvania. You know what I tell them? Go out there and attack. Don't sit back. Get after them. You got them on your heels. Don't go conservative. They got a great passing game mixed in with a great running game. They got one heck of an offensive game plan. And if I were them coming out this second half, I would not sit back on my heels. I would go right after Strath Haven and get another touchdown.
One of the things you got to be happy about is the running game. You haven't had a good running game the last 3 games. This game, it's showing up pretty well.
Well, I think what's happening, Strath Haven is so worried about Palco and Slappy that they're opening up some lanes. They're also taking splits on the inside that you can run a tractor trailer through. I mean, they're doing some very interesting things. They line up in the shotgun. They spread you out over the field. They really got a great offense. Their offensive coordinator does a tremendous job. But let me tell you something. When you got a Palco at quarterback, there is so much you can do, and that puts so much pressure on the opposing team's defense.
We got Palco at quarterback, and we got Mike Pettin up at the booth right now. We got a lot of highlights to show you. Let's take it back upstairs to Jed Donahue and Mike Pettin.
All right, thank you, Gary, and a very impressive first half. And You know, West Allegheny just took it right at him. No question. Thanks to the coaches for doing a little point counterpoint here at the break. Let's have a look at some of the numbers here with Gordon talking about West Allegheny dominating the scoreboard. But boy, that interception early, huge. The numbers really don't tell you the whole dominant story because of the one turnover there. Time of possession, really, if you looked at those numbers, you'd think it'd be like 10-7 or whatever.
Yeah, but you look at the quarterbacking situation. Miller struggled, got a lot of pressure, 3 of 11. Tyler Palco, 8 of 12. And you know something? There was the thought that, well, maybe they couldn't run the football in the first 2 state playoff games. But really, Palco in last 10 quarters, he's 28 for 40 and only 2 picks. That kind of deficiency with the passing game, that's as good as a running game.
Yeah, Gordon, you said it's the balance that's so surprising. They're mixing the run up with the pass. I think Strath Haven has been taken back by that.
All right, we're going to have a look at some of the pictures from this first 24 minutes of action. And got started right away. Mike Craig came in and got West Allegheny rolling.
Okay, here's the screen pass. He never saw the red shirt until it was too late.
They give a lot of credit to Manny Rojas, who made the big rush and really closed fastly on the screen pass.
33 yards and a touchdown, and all of a sudden Strath Haven is up.
That was a shocker.
This is just a big-time arm.
Here's the look off, and with a throwback to Slappy.
Strike 3, right? Painted black. That was right in there.
Great strike.
And now here's the
quick out to Davis.
This is a big play for them on their touchdown drive.
Little underneath pattern.
He tacks on 10 yards by tight roping down the sideline. That was big.
A 17-yard pickup on 3rd and 8 that kept the touchdown drive alive and set this up with Moore flying in behind Connor.
Nice little power run.
And then we're going to see Hawkins, the touchdown maker. Gordon, you've been talking about how he's come alive in the playoffs. 11 touchdowns overall. This is 7. He's been huge for them.
It's a short one, but it was important. Good line surge.
Yeah, they just blew people off the line of scrimmage there. That's why he gets the touchdowns.
And here's the star of the game thus far, Mr. Palco.
But not on this one. Connor really read it well and stepped in front of it.
Connor's just a great-looking prospect.
That time, Palco was looking down the middle all the way, and Connor was just set up for it.
He was thrown for Slappy, who was cutting across the middle.
Well, teams are warming up right now, and the like. What do you have?
Again, I think the passing numbers for Tyler Palco, 8 for 12 for 92 yards, and they've run the ball. They've run the ball for pretty effectively. Hawkins with 28 yards on 6 carries. Deontay Henry 5 carries, 21 yards. Over on Strath Haven's side, they got to get those halfbacks going. Keith Davis with 35 yards on 8 carries, and the fullback just 4 carries, 8 yards. And in a wing tee, the fullback's important to get some good yardage.
I think you have to give a lot of credit to West Allegheny's defense. Maybe they'll learn some lessons. Sometimes you sit back and try to read that Delaware wing tee, and it doesn't work. So what they're doing, they're saying, we have plays on defense. We're attacking you. And they're coming with flow fires and blitzes, and they're disrupting that finesse offense. Sometimes Delaware wing tee, it takes a little time to get going. If you're getting penetration, that's what you need.
And you see Tyler Palco giving everybody 5 coming over from the huddle. That's been the one factor that's made the big difference also. Has been the emotion factor.
Exactly.
They came pumped up and they've stayed charged. And it's tough to ride emotion for 4 quarters. It's an awful dangerous tightrope walk. But if you can, you're going to get a lot of mileage.
Well, I'll tell you, with this 2-touchdown lead and they're smelling it, I think that's a good indicator they might keep that emotion for 4 quarters.
It's good to Gary Sutton get his thoughts on things, rather, as we start this 3rd quarter.
Well, one of the nice things about traveling the sidelines, you get to make new friends, especially from the western part of the state where you don't see all the football you'd like to see out there all the time. But they tell me in the 2 losses that this team, West Allegheny, had this year, they had 5 turnovers in each of those 2 losses, and certainly the 1 interception at the end of the half not equal to that 5, and it didn't really hurt them, and yet at the same time a chance to kind of put a big number on this game, maybe even put it away. So turnovers have been really the name of the game when they've lost this year. Even that 14-point lead right now, certainly not a safe 14-point lead at this point for a team that was mistake-prone earlier in the season.
Well, that's the one thing they do, though, is you've been out west a lot this year, Gordon, is that they do have the expanded playoffs, and they, it's not devastating if you lose once or twice in the regular season like West Allegheny did.
Of course, the downside of it is you got to play an extra playoff game, and you only play a 9-week regular season in the western part of the state, especially WPIAL. So you've got to play that extra playoff game, and Coach Pettin knows playing 5 of them is hard enough. Playing 6 is almost impossible. Remember, the WPIL's come here. This is the 4th time they brought all 4 representatives in all 4 classes. They've never swept.
Gentlemen, shake hands.
But this game right here, they hold on to this lead. They stand a great chance to sweep this weekend because tomorrow's games, Washington and Woodland Hills, look like pretty big-time teams.
Let's eavesdrop on midfield right now.
Making a good point.
Okay, gentlemen, that was the
Well,
first good half of football. Things got a little chippy in the middle. We need you to take care of that, all right? Help the other guy up when you tackle him. Make sure we keep it clean. If you remember, White won the toss, so it's Red's choice.
Take the ball, sir.
You'd like the ball.
Yes, sir.
Which goal would you like to defend? You're going to defend the scoreboard, kick away from the board. Gentlemen, line up over here. White.
West Allegheny will get the ball to start this second half, leading at 21-7. But that play early, Mike Craig's 33-yard interception return, I mean, that really just got everything flying here for the Indians right away. Game's 3rd play.
And that's been the key to Strath Haven's success. They were plus 31 coming in turnovers. They jumped all over Mannheim with 5 turnovers. And last week to win that game, to hold on to win, and they've lived off of other people's mistakes. They made a big mistake to start this football game and really haven't recovered from it yet.
It's going to be a very important defensive series for Strath Haven.
Schoenman will kick off for Strath Haven to start this second half. The Panthers, a lot of talk. This may be their final game as a AAA club, as the new enrollments come out, and they might go to Quad A. Philadelphia Inquirer apparently has a story today saying that it's pretty much a done deal that they're going to Quad A. It's not official yet. Gary?
You talk about going to Quad A, because we were here in Hershey Stadium a few weeks ago on PCN when Strath Haven was a co-champion also in soccer. So quite a boys program in sports right now at Strath Haven.
Coleman hits it, whirls out of bounds, and West Allegheny again, marvelous field position to start at the 35-yard line.
That's one of the problems when you kick from the hash mark. If your kicker hooks it, it doesn't have to go that far to end up out of bounds. Good field position starting at the 35.
Well, for Strath Haven, how do you get back into the game? Let's do that. Game reset a little bit. The tail of the tape on that end.
I think they have to start to put a little more pressure. Their defense, as I say, they like to lay off the ball a couple yards, and Tyler has a lot of time to throw.
There's Palco in the air today, but a lot of it's play action and things. What a double threat he is. 10-yard touchdown pass to Slappy. That gave them the 14-0 lead. Now Palco, quarterback keeper, and this time they crawl all over it. Dave Peck is there, 6'4".
They've been pushing that quarterback keeper.
But I think that was a busted play. You know, the 2 things I know drive coaches nuts is, number 1, you come out first play after the half and you don't run it the way you want to, or the first play after a timeout and you don't execute the play.
Exactly.
Because really, you think this 6 to 7 minute window, this is where Strath Haven wants to get back into this thing. I mean, this is a very, very big moment in this game for the Panthers.
So back to the shotgun.
Oh, I think
here's that same formation where they isolated Slappy.
Now Palco going to pitch it back. Henry, and they got that bottled up pretty good. A gain of maybe a yard. That's about it. Dan Connor is over there. Also, Garreau, only a sophomore. They got a lot of sophomores on this defense for Strath Haven. A lot of young up-and-comers again.
And everybody can move. I love that shotgun, though. You can still run option. You can still run counter off.
That's what I said earlier. You know, most teams figure you go to the shotgun, you're going to throw the football. That was a well-designed option play, but even a better defensive play in stopping it.
It was a kind of offense that Joe Paterno used to make fun of, literally, and then decided that that's what they had to go to this year to get their offense to move.
With this offense, you're not too concerned with 3rd and 9.
Palco back, looks, throws, pass, caught. First down, Luke Palco, it's down and recovered by Strath Haven. They've got, no.
Palco got it back.
He got it back. Oh, how'd he do that?
He crawled onto his kitchen floor to get to it, and he got it.
Like he'd lost his contacts or something. Well, I don't know.
No, I'll tell you what, that was.
I tell you what, his dad was a couple steps away from him. he didn't want to get up without the ball.
He wasn't going to be able to go home if he didn't get that ball back.
Wow, great recovery right underneath Brian Moore.
I'll tell you, that play there we might remember when we get to the end of this.
Exactly, I was just going to say, you know, those are the little plays that you look back and say, hey, it could have been the difference in changing the game.
What a throw and the like. Quick handoff this time. Nothing doing with Cody Mullins. Well,
I think Strath Haven's getting onto these wide splits. That time their D lineman angled out into the dive hole.
It's Garreau again in on the stop. Garreau, 5'10", 160-pounder.
We're seeing some new names on defense for Strath Haven. A couple of guys have stepped up here.
Another guy that's been out here is Jazino, another sophomore.
Yep, and the senior Joe Bowman's seen a lot of time as well.
Strath Haven needs to get stops. They're down by 14 points. Well, power I formation. Now they come out of that. Now no backs. Little everything for West Allegheny. Henry makes the catch, step around move, and slides forward. Pretty good positive yardage to Strath Haven's 47.
You realize how difficult it was to make that catch. He made it look easy, and then he made a couple super moves. Replay. Quick out. Nice catch. There's one move. Another move for 3 or 4 more yards.
But you
outstanding effort.
DBs aren't coming up and really laying into them for Strath Haven. I mean, they've been making a lot of plays, and they're getting a little tired.
3rd and 6 right now for West Allegheny. 8:45 left here in the 3rd. Palco back. Looks. Pretty good coverage downfield, but Slappy finds an opening and gets the first down to the 39-yard line.
Hey, tell me, Gordon, who's recruiting Slappy? I mean, he's catching my eye here.
Well, you
know all about him, though.
He's come on, and he's pretty good talent, but there's been some questions about him. He had a rough game out here last year, but the last couple games, he came up big, and he's come up big again tonight. Both on defense. He's covering Hannum on defense, a lot of times one-on-one and doing the job with him.
Well, he's 6'3", so he's got size. That's not an issue, and he finds openings.
He's played a lot of football the last 3 years.
That time he came back and helped out his quarterback. Henry looking to get to the outside, has a blocker in front, and has about 5 or 6 more yards. All the way down to the 32-yard line.
I think there's a lot with Slappy that he's here to redeem himself. Remember, he got beat on that pass play that went to Hannum.
Outside stretch play here. Just run to the sideline until you get a seam and get up, shoulders upfield to get a couple yards.
You know, Mullins is not a big fullback, but he's sure been throwing some key blocks. There he didn't get a pad on anyone, but he's been blocking real nice out of that fullback spot.
8th play of the drive. This is a huge drive to start second half. Handoff, contact, down he goes right away. Tackle is made by Cresta, another sophomore.
Wow.
That was a counter tray, as they call it, and I think a missed blocking assignment, and somebody came clean. Can't get his number there, but...
No, it's Cresta, another sophomore, 64 there.
64.
Tell you, Gordon, Kevin Clancy's got some pretty good-looking young guys going on right now.
You think about the fact, so what, they go to Quad A. They're still going to win. They still will have a chance to run the table in the Central League and get plenty of points against Quad A teams.
Third and 8. This is a big down for Strath Haven offensively. The blitz is coming. Palco got it away.
It's open.
Here he comes to Craig. Step around, move to the 20. Foot race 10. Dragged down from behind to the 4-yard line. Tackle made by Lenny Carter after a gain of 31.
That's Palco all the way there.
Craig has been a huge guy.
I can't remember a high school quarterback setting up the screen pass this well.
Didn't look pretty as far as spiral, but how effective? You bet, 31 yards.
Look at Rojas leading the way there, escort service.
And the track man, Lenny Carter, had to run that down to set up 1st and goal at the 5.
This time they run behind Rojas.
Here's Hawkins, and he stood up at about the 3-yard line.
We said he's going to have a big game, Jed, and he's just responded. These guys who've been here now the last 3 years have responded for West Allegheny.
Dan Connor on the stop. 2nd and goal at the 4 after a gain of 1 as Slappy comes back for West Allegheny.
Rojas, Slappy, Palco.
How's this for a statement? They're coming up on 6 minutes to open the second half. Luke Palco almost fumbles it away at his own 48-yard line, somehow gets it back. And West Allegheny knocking on the door, looking for redemption. They've lost each of the last 2 years. Palco, a little pitch to Henry. He's got a man in front. It's Mullen to the pylon. Touchdown, West Allegheny. The Indians are rolling here in Hershey, up by 20.
Wow, that's big time right there.
It's a great call down in that area.
11 plays, 65 yards.
Again, Tyler Palco waited to the last split second to make the pitch.
5 minutes, 56 seconds. Wow, is all you can say to that. The big screen to the tight end.
A lot of fans back in Pittsburgh right now, pretty excited.
Devereaux splits it, and off the board it goes. Might see him later in the summer at the Big 33 as the kicker for Pennsylvania. Certainly would be a legitimate candidate. 28-7, West Allegheny. There's Henry to the pylon, speed. Where'd they find him, Gordon? He's been kind of sitting in anonymity here over the last couple of years behind Kellen Campbell.
Pretty good player.
And a good block by Mullen as well. He just bought him enough time to get to the corner. Let's go to Gary Sutton. Gary?
Well, Jed, when you talk about a guy like Palco, I mean, I'm reminded of the word 2 Ps, poise and presence. I mean, that screen pass held to the last moment, pushed the guy off, makes it go. He's been poised and he's been present the whole game. One of the reasons that his team's up 28-7 right now, 6:04 mark after a great drive. And you got to think it's a real uphill climb right now for Strath Haven.
What do you think they're feeling in the WPIAL about right now?
Oh, they're excited, and everybody's already talking about a sweep now.
Saw Guy Manicalvo earlier. He's here with a little Prexies of Washington. They're a favorite tomorrow against Penn Argyl, and I would guess most of the pundits, yourself included, would favor Woodland Hills against Neshaminy tomorrow night.
Yep, for sure. And Washington over Penn Argyl. These are the 2 games that people thought the East might have the chance to win, but right now West Allegheny has just went out and seized this game on both sides of the ball, and they look in great shape right now, and their emotional energy is still high.
It'll be Davis. Can't come out of the end zone.
3 touchbacks now. That's kicking the ball.
It's just a great asset for West Allegheny's defense.
Bob Palco running down the sidelines, very excited, gave a high five to Javarone for kicking it into the end zone. Coach, I've seen you give some high fives.
See where that red dot is right there? That's where a lot of good football's being played
Never to
right
a kicker, though.
West Allegheny, Imperial, as you say, near the airport.
Yep. Been through there just quite a few times over my days.
3 touchdown lead as Strath Haven touches the ball for the first time here in the second half. As we look at their senior quarterback, Dan Miller, who's been under siege. They'll give it off to Davis, and he's running into an excited bunch of red and silver. The Silver Bullets, they are crawling all over them.
Well, now you can really let tee off. You know, you got some room to play with, and that just makes your defense all that much better. The circumstance of the scoreboard.
Almost a point, you mentioned this earlier this afternoon, where play action. Why bother if you're defense, right?
You're expecting the pass,
right.
Absolutely. And again, you got a wing tee team that lives on play action, so we'll see what their game plan is. They're going to have to change up, I think, a little bit. There's that inside reverse.
And there's nothing there.
You know, it's the wing tee offense, at least so far today, is taking a terrible beating in terms of its ability to get out of a hole
West
offensively.
Allegheny, they're staying at home, reading their keys, attacking, disrupting those pulling guards and tackles.
There's Keith Davis. He's tired. There has not been much room to run. 3rd down and 7. Underneath 5 minutes left here in this third quarter of play. And Strath Haven and pretty much up against the wall now. It's been 3rd and long all night long, as you see the numbers on Connor. Back goes Miller looking. Now he's looking long for Hannum. Has him out there, and it is dropped out of bounds. A tough catch over the shoulder. A real tough chance.
And look who's covering him. Slappy and Palco both there.
That time he had double coverage.
They gave him single coverage to start the game. And he almost brought this down anyway. He holds on out of bounds. He did have his foot down. That is a catch.
But Palco brought a load of bricks there and really stung him, and he couldn't hold on to the ball. May not have come down in bounds anyways.
Hannum punt. Now we got a whistle.
Looks like we're short a man. They had 10 guys on the field.
Now, let's not, we very rarely see a Kevin Clancy team make those kind of mistakes.
So they get a timeout, and they're out of whack tonight. Trailing in this game 28-7.
Well, the Palcos
did last week take a lot out of them, I guess, would be the question. They ran into a very good man-on Central team in the East Final. Won 14-13, survived a 2-point conversion attempt with under a minute to go. Is that a legitimate question to ask?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think
I'm not trying to take anything against WA here. They've looked great, but
they felt fortunate to get away with a win there, and Mannheim really took it to them in the second half. So
had a tough Berwick cover the week before that. I mean, they've had a rough ride to get here. Faced some really good teams. Not the West Allegheny is not, but
that could be a factor. It also could be a factor that maybe they took West Allegheny a little lightly here. Beat them the last 2 times. Heavy favorites.
You know about that old Division I blue chip factor, though. If you can get the ball in the hands of your blue chipper, boy, you can just transcend the competition.
And that was only the second time that Hannum has had the ball even thrown his way. He's had 1 touch and 1 ball thrown his way.
Great punt returner, Palco.
It's to the outside of the 42-yard line. 31-yard punt by Hannum.
I can't emphasize enough, when you have a win streak, it's tough to stay hungry week in and week out. And you know, you said it from the first or second play. West Allegheny had more bounce, and the emotional tide hasn't really changed.
Not only bounce, but then they got the big interception return for a touchdown, and then that helps you believe in the message. And from there, they've been on the pedal, and they actually survived the counterpunch. I thought Strath Haven, when they made it 14-7, and then West Allegheny drives it back down to make it 21-7. And started the second half. Here's Henry again, going to the outside.
Outside stretch.
Nice to cut in, but not for
bad.
much.
5 yards.
Garreau, and on the stop again.
I love that. I love that kind of, if you got the people who can make that kind of a play, well, I love that, because he gets through there and bam, he's gone. I tell you what, they're just 1 big play away from putting this thing away.
I think Coach Palco would take that every play from here on in. That's almost a 5-yard gain. Each run takes some time off the clock.
I mean, these linemen, well, now they're tightening their splits aren't as wide as they were earlier.
Well, when they go to the I formation, it's a different scheme here. There's a stretch play to the right.
Henry, and Garreau runs him down from behind. You better put him on your radar screen here, Gordon. Number 84 for Strath Haven has been all over the place here in this 3rd quarter, and he's only a sophomore. 5'11".
Problem with the stretch play, oftentimes you can catch it from the backside.
Playing a defensive end position.
Well, look at that Peck kid. Peck kid is also in a defensive end. He's
look at that pursuit.
6'4", 200.
That young man can move.
Watch number 80 for Strath Haven. He's not a bad-looking player either.
He's doing a little tight end work offensively. Here's Palco out of the gun.
Oh, he's got a man down here.
Didn't get him in time, and hit as he threw it, and it goes out of bounds. He took a wallop, though. I'll tell you what, Dave Peck laid the wood to him. Or Garreau did again. It was Garreau.
It was almost a fumble. Let's watch it here. Looks like a fumble.
Yeah, it was Nick Cresta.
And out of bounds.
Not Garreau, but Cresto bringing the.
But you know,
bringing it.
When things are going your way, they go your way. He gets hit, and the ball bounces out of bounds. So that's.
Well, as they say, you have to be good and you have to be lucky.
Attendance today, 8,872 for both games. Kick, Hannum, fair catch, lets it go through, and it'll go into the end zone.
Well, there's a 10-yard rule. Good play by Hannum.
Strath Haven will take it over, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. 41-yard punt. Let's go down to Gary Sutton and see what he has for us. Gary? Well, Strathaven's running out of outs. They're down 3 touchdowns, and they basically have 14 minutes and 46 seconds of clock. And a wing T offense, which has been proven here, at least today and in other instances, to not be a real high-octane comeback attack. They've got to get Hannum or hit some kind of big play. Here comes Davis, sweeping to the right. Not much there. West Allegheny is excited on defense. They are just flying to every move. Manny Rojas. Also there, Mike Craig again.
Josh Hannum, 1 touch today, and it wasn't a catch, it was a run, 5 yards.
The other time they threw it to him, he had 1 foot down, but he couldn't hang on. A real tough chance for him.
Got to get the ball in his hands.
In their last series. 44-game winning streak. As you look at the senior quarterback, Dan Miller replaced Mike Connor, who's been brilliant the last couple of years.
Outside reverse.
Here we go. We got Connor in front of Hannum. They can get him to the outside. Got maybe a clip. Might be on the quarterback, laying the block at the 25. I have a feeling that's coming back. That might be on Connor over there. It's going to be a block in the back or a clip.
Here we see it. 14 quarterback, lead blocker.
The mask.
Face mask off.
Where did they see that, Gary?
I missed it.
Had a face mask right here on the near sideline coming out.
Was that coming out of bounds?
Coming out of bounds.
Well, from where we are, obviously, we didn't see that.
You know, you talk about Josh Hannum and the number of touches tonight. I think Gordon made a good point. And you look at his numbers this year, down a little bit, 37 catches this year, but he's been double-teamed all year.
White, 5-yard penalty. Replay second down.
And of course, Gary doesn't have Mike Connor throwing to him either, a guy who could get the ball in there no matter where he was.
All right, let's have a look at it here. There it is. All right.
Okay.
And it's good that it's 5 yards because he didn't turn his head around. It was kind of an inadvertent thing. So, good job as always. Our production crew from WITF TV here in the Harrisburg area, and delighted as always to be working on.
That could have been 15 once you turn the head like that.
Even if the helmet jostles, you're absolutely right. Mike Pettin Sr. is with us. Gordon Blaine, Ted Donahue with you. Miller throws, and again just catch and drop. Miller hit right by Slappy. Right.
Joe Slappy came tonight to redeem himself. And he sure has done that. In the playoffs, he's just come up big. He's made big catches.
Here's the pressure. He's throwing off his back foot.
He has not been comfortable back there at all tonight.
And that was the game plan. We're not going to let him get comfortable. We're going to make him beat us.
Bob Palco and his staff have come up in 6 or 7 days with really a brilliant game plan on both sides of the football.
I get the feeling he may have been working on a little longer than 7 days.
You're saying the first day of summer last August? Possibly on the radar screen?
How about a week before Christmas last year?
Here's Miller. He has time this trip. Hannum caught it with a 36 and a first down.
That was a big-time throw, Coach.
Absolutely. The difference was he had a lot of time.
This is the most time probably combined on every pass attempt that he's had all night.
We need a little pressure from the DN on that side. You don't know, where is the end?
Well, they kept 2 backs in for pass protection and left it up to Hannum. You get open, and he did.
23 yards on that completion.
They just kind of turned the pocket a touch over a little bit there, maybe to buy a little time.
That was a big conversion on 3rd down. Here comes Moore trying to get free, and there's nothing there again. The running game is unavailable to Strathaven right now. Stefanski has been everywhere.
It appeared to be 9 guys in the box.
Well, they made that gamble early by putting single coverage on Hannum. He hadn't seen it all year long, and they got the blitz package, got the touchdown out of that early, and they have been rolling since. Now they've got a little bit more of a double down on Hannum, number 8 for Strathaven. Final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Hannum's your motion man. Quick counter to Connor, nothing much there. I think Manny Rojas got him, sure did, 51. Three-year starter, Gordon. This guy's been the real deal. He's been a two-way warrior for him.
We talked about he had to have a big game tonight. We said that in the pre-game, and that's exactly what he's done. He stepped up.
The end of the third quarter, and all of a sudden, West Allegheny is 12 minutes away from extracting revenge for a couple of heartbreaking trips here to Hershey the last 2 years. They lost in '99, 21-0 on a windy, extremely cold night in Chocolatetown, and then last year lost a shootout 31-28 after driving the length of the field to tie it at 28, and then Mike Connor brought him back, and Josh Hannum, and they hit a game-winning field goal. Connor with 5 carries for 11 yards in this football game.
You got to get more out of your fullback in a wing T offense than that. I got to tell you what, I think the people in WPIAA right now are just, they're being careful not to crack a smile or get a good feeling, but they're thinking sweep. There's no doubt about it now, and they believe they can get it done. This was the one game they wanted to turn the dime, and they sure have.
7 tackles for Rojas in the game. Do you really feel like you carry your own district mantle when you get to these kind of games a little bit?
Absolutely. I think ever since the playoffs started, you know, East versus West, there was the pride factor early on. You know, Western football had the reputation. I think the way things have evolved, you have parity, but certainly if West can sweep all 4, they'll have some bragging rights for a year.
Here's Hannum getting another touch, trying to get to the outside. Palco brings him down, but not before he's got a first down. He converts 3rd and 5. He got 7 on the play. Well, Hannum has had a brilliant career. I've really enjoyed him a lot.
There's Pitt versus Notre Dame right there.
Here he is.
These 2 young men are going to hook up in the next 4 years a couple times.
Strath Haven, of course, in the Philadelphia area down there in District 1. 28-7. Opening minute of the 4th quarter. For Strath Haven, they got to have it here. Here's Connors, got pretty good block, steps up, has 5, has 10, still chewing it up, still churning to the 41-yard line. It's another Strath Haven first down. Connor with only 5 carries for 11 yards before that, almost got all that on 1 carry. First down, Strath Haven again. They get the big guy loose for the first time here.
That was an extra effort run right there. Look at that leg drive.
Got to have something on this trip here. Touchdown. They'll use 4 downs to
absolutely.
move chains.
I think Coach Palco is saying, hey, give it to the fullback a little bit more. You're not going to beat us with the fullback.
Game is being won or lost here. Here's Hannum, tries to step forward, cracked the seam briefly before running into Stefanski, who put that fire out at the 35. Let's check in with Gary Sutton. Gary?
Well, I've got to ask Coach Pettin a question again from down here, though. While you are making some progress field-wise right now, the clock continues to roll. It's definitely the friend of West Allegheny as it ticks down to 10:55. Do you have to depart the running game and head for the passing game, Coach?
I think you're right. I think you have to start injecting more of the pass into the running mix. There's no question.
They got to have quick strikes. Here's
you
Miller.
Get this score, you're still 2 down.
He's back, throwing over the middle and overshot Moore
Had him
around the 3. Had him open briefly, but felt that pressure again. Might have pulled the trigger a bit early. Gamboa bringing it. He had pretty good time, and they had the right route on, and Moore was behind Palco on their screen right there. So 3rd and 6, at least that'll stop the clock. 10:37 to go.
So what do you say, Gordon? 4 down territory here, right?
Right.
No question.
I think you got to throw something out in the flat here, though. But you know, you got to somehow find Hannum and just get it in his hands here. Get him wide.
Well, he's been getting the ball more.
He's going to get a run here.
11th play of the drive as Miller drops again, looking, throwing, looks for his big tight end who got whacked by Palco, who gets up excited.
Oh no, he's going to get a flag.
It's going to be a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty flag. And if you can get a camera on Bob Palco's father, he is not happy.
He just dashed out to the 30-yard number there on the 30-yard line, pretty worked up.
In the pregame meetings, they say they just will not tolerate it. They have a zero-tolerance policy.
Previous spot.
There's Bob Palco, who's not happy
Coach
at all.
Palco, he doesn't like the call.
This could be big. I mean, they're not done yet. There's that.
Well,
you're going to get whistled for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go down to the field.
Looking at it on replay, when you're doing your celebration.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, red. 15-yard penalty, first down.
If you want to show excitement, you have to run back to your defensive huddle, jump up in the air, get a pat on the back, but you can't do it around the player. You just tackle.
You got to get away from him. You're right. Just poor judgment on Palco's part, and he knows better.
And he's not a dirty player.
And he's not that kind of kid at all.
Just taken up with the excitement of the game.
He respects his opponents. He loves being around both the other team and himself. He's not that kind of kid.
Coach, you're absolutely right. If he does that in the huddle, no big deal. Or back around his own guys.
He's just very excited.
Here comes Connor, and again, they have that sealed off. There is nothing there. No gain. Manny Rojas leading the way again. Number 51 making a statement in his final high school game. Gamboa is there as well.
When they needed tough yards against Berwick, they went to Connor. All the year they've been going in when they needed some tough yards. Then West Allegheny determined to take him out of that offense tonight.
Connor came in with 923 yards, 17 touchdowns tonight. He has 7 carries now for I think 21 or 22 yards. It's been tough sledding.
You know, Bob Palco has ties here to the local area in Harrisburg area. I'll bring that to you here after this play.
Double handoff. Now Connor will lead Hannum as they try and get him to the outside. Broke one tackle and gets out of bounds. A yard shy of a first down, but a safe play to get your speed to the outside. They're a yard shy, but they stop the clock as well with 9:35 left.
Coach Palco, his first coaching job was with George Chomp at University of Indiana, Pennsylvania.
And they worked out with Central Dauphin and George Chomp, where he is now this week, in preparation for this when they got into South Central region.
Came in early.
So 3rd and 1, they come to their feet on both sides. This is really a big drive in this game as to whether Strath Haven's going to hang around. Miller, play action into the end zone, caught, touchdown! Touchdown, Owen McGarity.
Give him a lot of credit. He stopped. He could have kept running. He stopped, and that's when the ball came to him.
Yeah, he waited for the receiver to break open. Threw a strike. Here's the replay.
McGarity had the eventual game-winning touchdown toward the end of the first half. Those were the 14th point anyway. Very unsung tight end, very good tight end, and a good defensive player as well. He's on for the extra point. It's blocked, and that's huge.
And guess who blocks it?
Luke Palco.
Luke Palco comes through with a big block. Wow. This is the Palco show tonight.
I'll tell you.
Well, here's the touchdown again, and let's explain what's going on here, Coach.
Play action, full sprint. Great job by the quarterback, squaring his shoulders, attacking a line of scrimmage, and he threw a strike.
Garrity's like, oh my God, I'm this wide open. Don't drop that. Don't be dropping that kind of stuff. Well, the missed extra point, though, is a monster.
Oh, it's huge.
It's now 28-13, 9:26 left.
He just blew in there, though, untouched.
I mean, too early to think onside kick, isn't it?
You can't take that extra point coverage for granted. I mean, that blocking, you work on it every week. Sometimes those big linemen fall asleep inside. And he did come up the middle. He didn't come off the edge.
Kick an onsider here?
Might be a little early for that.
A little bit early. But
I don't know about that, guys.
You have this quick strike capability to get 2 more scores. You need a 2-point conversion.
You need a lot to go your way to win this football game.
And there's our answer.
The live ball picked up by Henry. And he's going to get swarmed at the 15-yard line.
That worked out for Strath Haven, but geez, in a roundabout way. I think
that was very returnable.
I think you roam the halls of your school and you find somebody who can kick the ball into the end zone. Tell them you got a starting position if you just show up.
Isn't that the truth?
Or go visit the soccer team who won a state gold. As
when
Gary
you
is
think
talking
that colleges give scholarships to kickers and punters, gives you an indication how important special teams are with your kicking game.
Well, I think we're as close as the parity with the 85-man limit of the next level. I'm amazed more people don't give out scholarships. It's become more magnified because there is such parity and so many good players around that's such an element in your game. You got to have it. Here's Henry on the run. I know you've been a stickler on that area for forever. Special teams.
Special teams. Unfortunately, we haven't had the great kickers. Now, I roamed the halls, but I couldn't find anybody.
No one on the soccer field either.
So,
huh?
you know, we had to go to those squibs and the pooch kicks.
Look at this. He's going to throw the ball.
2nd and 4.
That's a live ball.
Nope. They rule it not.
They ruled it a pass.
How about that, though, for not being at all conservative? We're just going to keep playing our game.
3rd down and 4, but that stops the clock with 9:11. I mean, you got to start thinking about just stopping the clock at any time you can if you're Strath Haven at this point. Save any amount.
And talk about special teams. The thing that we worked on the most that was very frightening to us was having the punt blocks. So that's the one aspect, and that might be coming up here with.
You blocked a punt 3 years ago for a monster victory.
Yeah, well, it shows you that won that game, but you don't want it to happen to your team.
Here's Palco back again on 3rd down, throws incomplete. Boy, he had all kinds of coverage he was throwing over there to brother Luke. And that stops the clock with 9:06.
Lenny Carter, the big-time sprinter who transferred in from Wisconsin. Boy, he was just looking to pick on that one. He had some big interceptions against Mannheim, and he almost came up with one there, and that's a touchdown if it is.
Sure, if Coach Palco had to redo that series and keep it on the ground a little bit more, because that only used up 11 seconds and 2 downs.
Let's see if they come after it.
They've got some home run hitters waiting on the other end.
Now they got the return on.
And it goes out of bounds.
Not a very good kick.
Where's he going? Up near the 41?
Wow.
42-yard line. 22-yard punt.
This is going to get interesting.
Strath Haven is not done yet with 9 minutes. Again, only 11 seconds are used with 2 downs. And with 9 minutes to go, they'll take over 1st and 10 with some momentum now at 28-13.
It was obvious Coach Palco felt very comfortable and confident with his execution of those pass plays, and it didn't happen. And this is where Strath Haven is. Oh, you count them out, and here they come again.
They're like that trick candle, the flame, you just can't get them out. Here's Miller. Throws down the middle, intercepted. Well, the trick candle may have gone out there. That's a huge turnover. And it is Stefanski dropping in coverage downfield, and the ball that Miller, I think, would like to have back.
Now this is the waggle play, rolling to the left. Looking for the crossing man.
He overthrew it. He had Tech out there.
You had too many receivers too close together here. Somebody ran the wrong pattern.
That's McGarity that he was looking for, and there's Kevin Clancy. He knows that was a golden opportunity.
It appeared that the deep man didn't clear out the area.
Let's go down to Gary. Gary, quick.
I'll ask Coach Pettin one more question. If I could say you could have 3 first downs right now, would you take them and go home?
That's for sure.
Hawkins going to get halfway home to the first.
And obviously,
first down.
Gary, I'm going to keep the ball on the ground, but
tick, 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 right?
With Palco a quarterback, who knows what we're going to see here.
I mean, you can still, with Palco and his diversity, you can still show that
you have to be careful you don't go too conservative. I've done that before. There's that tendency to just get in a bunker mentality, protect the lead.
Yeah, but you're at the point where you don't have any choice. You're gonna have to try to win this game for the bunker. I mean, if you're gonna win it, you got to go ahead and do it here. It's called four corners defense, offense.
With the diversity of his talent, you don't have to change any of your
He's
formations.
Going to the shotgun.
You can still put him in the shotgun and run with him.
He's going to run some out. Oh, jeez.
And out of bounds.
He's taking every chance in the book.
Option.
Wow.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what, if I'm going to throw the ball, it's going to go forward.
If I go to Atlantic City.
The option play is a thing of beauty, except when this happens.
If I'm going to Atlantic City, I'm taking Bob Palco with me. I'll tell you though, why not run the shovel pass? Because it's like a pitch, but
you're right. I mean, a couple teams in our league run that, and it's a very safe play. It's an incomplete pass. And if you break it, you're usually getting 15, 20 yards or a big score.
And you're not throwing into coverage other than a bunch of defensive tackles. You aren't going to catch it anyways.
3rd and 11, and after that bad pitch, then stop the clock with 8:01. I'll go back, quick hitter, goes to Slappy. Slappy trying to cut and gets away. Look out, they have a block to the outside. Here he goes to the 40 in the clear midfield and out of bounds at the Strath Haven 45-yard line.
Hey, those are the plays that win championships.
29 yards, and
that play looked dead. And he resurrected it with some great moves.
I'll say he did.
Hey, I can't.
Here it is again, guys.
Can't harp on it enough. He can't.
Look at this. Look at the balance.
Look at Palco out there. Both Palcos leading the way. They've been something.
That Luke will get after you. He's not that big, but
now little brother's always tough, isn't he?
He has to be, right.
Handoff Hawkins, not much there, but again, that first down, Jeff Milligan in on the stop. Seniors had a marvelous career. You think about these seniors for Strath Haven, 2 straight champions. They have been in a legendary class, needless to say.
There's no question.
But for West
they still
Allegheny,
might pull it out, but regardless, they've had a great run no matter what happens.
and you say the hunger after it gets up so high, a winning streak.
That's the toughest part mentally for the coach, to keep the team up. I mean, usually when you lose a game, you come back, you have great resolve. But if you keep winning, it's tough. You lose that mental edge. What you try to do is you make close games like they're losses. You make them come out of Monday Night Film or whenever you show them like, hey, we thought we won the game, but coach acted like we lost it. You tell them they have to play to the standard, in this case, the Strath Haven standard. And even though they win sometimes, you treat it like a loss. And that's the only way you can keep the mental toughness.
Deontay Henry going for about 2 or 3 yards there. It's 3rd and 6. No pitch into Henry this time. Cuts back forward, slides to the 42-yard line.
You got to remember also, when you're on a winning streak and that bullseye each week gets bigger and bigger, you just become a bigger prize for your opponent. And that's tough because psychologically, the average team is going to get up, hey, 2-3 times a year, but everybody that plays Strath Haven, that's one of their 2 or 3 times. So each week they're facing a team at the top of the emotional peak.
After the punt, we'll hear from Coach Palkos talking about his group of seniors. I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's state finals, and a big thank you as well to the cable companies that carry the Pennsylvania Cable Network, bringing the sights and sounds of the PIAA football championships to millions of Keystone State residents. And this senior group for West Allegheny's had to weather a couple of really tough trips here to Hershey over the last couple of years. And let's hear what Bob Palco feels about his senior group.
Expected. They've done good, but then we expect that. They're seniors. They've played for 4 years for us, and that's what your seniors and your leaders on the team are supposed to do. They're supposed to make plays. So, I just hope we can make some tonight.
I know.
Well, they've made some. They got started. One senior, Mike Craig, big 33-yard interception return. They really haven't looked back since on the game's 3rd play.
They're coming with the block.
Connor almost got there, and they run the punter over. That's going to be a roughing call. Connor knows it. He almost got there. The ball, I think, went almost under his forearm. He was close. Here we'll see it again.
He was blocked into him, but it doesn't make any difference.
Here it is on the field.
Personal foul. Definitely the kicker.
That should about do it. Obviously, they'll accept. 5:23 left.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, white, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, the West Allegheny coaches are in the booth next to us. I think, as they say, game, set, match, pretty much at this point.
I think so.
It's getting close.
And you know, you look back, you win championships with defense, and they came out, they were just determined. They were going to just go all out defensively. They were shooting gaps early, putting a lot of pressure, making the quarterback for Strath beat them, and they just were too much for Miller and company to handle. And they made the big, you get that big turnover early and turn into 6 points like that, just like Rochester this afternoon, and you've gotten off to a great start in the championship game.
Well, they seem to have the emotional edge, and their game plan, fantastic on defense. We're not going to sit back. We're just going to attack. We're going to disrupt your offense. Like I said, it's this finesse offense. Sometimes plays are slow developing, and those blitzing linebackers were in there all night.
Hawkins has got a touchdown run tonight inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line.
I hate to think ahead, but you know, this sets up the incredible situation tomorrow. And WPIAA is going to think sweep, and they thought they would do that when this all started back in 1988, and lo and behold, 14 years later, they really have gotten their halfway home right now. That's pretty awesome, Coach.
Well, I don't know how excited I can get. You know, I'm from the other end of the state here. You realize that. But if it happens, hey, it's a great accomplishment. And there's no question it's a fantastic league, WPIAL.
I've seen mine.
Excellent players, great coaches.
Great traditions. With Henry running wide and then cutting in.
And some of the best venues for high school football. Some of the stadiums in Western PA are just incredible. I was at the playoff game of West Allegheny, played against Hampton in the second round, and Pine Richland High School is just one incredible facility. I bet you there must be a couple dozen schools that play on artificial surface out there. It's, you know, football is incredibly important, as it is in Doylestown as well. But
well, I think from, you know, top to bottom, there's no question that Western Pennsylvania is a hotbed of community support and enthusiasm for their teams.
And it's showing up here tonight with West Allegheny on the lead at 28-13. Palco play action looking. Connor on the blitz. Runs him over from behind. Not Connor, but Peck. We'll hear from him. This is a good-looking sophomore, 6'4", and still growing.
Stand-up defensive end, and he just went right past Craig. Well, Craig kind of gave it the old Spanish block, which is ole. He's going to give him a little shove.
Pretty soon, Walt Harris going to get in the way of that guy. That's my quarterback. About 3 minutes and 10 seconds, he becomes a Pitt quarterback for the most part. Still has to sign in February, obviously.
Well, you think there might be a Big 33 game in the mix?
I was just going to say, he's going to. I would say that, you know, he's going to be one of the quarterbacks of the Big 33 team, and I guess it's going to be a tremendous debate on who might the other one be.
He may make the Big 33 team, but I think he'll see a lot of action maybe in that defensive secondary.
I wouldn't like to be on that committee that picks the Big 33 quarterback.
Or trying to pick 33 kids in this team anyway, from the state rather.
I hear the guy, one of those guys on that committee is not worth talking to anyways.
There he is. The coach, Mr. Contafio.
There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there this year.
You probably run the top 5 for me right now, couldn't you? That machine gun mind of yours. Punt for West Allegheny here.
Just get your foot on it, right?
That's all you need. On a block. Here comes Brian Moore. Has a seam, but it closes at the 31-yard line.
Don't quite know why he cut back out.
And Tyler Palco in on the stop. So with 2:42 to go, here comes Strath.
21-yard return.
There's not much room. Let's go down to Gary Sutton and see what Gary has for us. Gary?
Well, I'm looking at a sign down here right now. It says the first 2 times were practice, the third time's a charm on the side for West Allegheny. and they're just about 242 away from making that third time a charm, and what a wonderful game plan they've had tonight.
And I'll tell you, defensively, they had a good game plan. They went single coverage on the big guy, Hannum. Came with a blitz. Here comes Moore, running forward to the 33-yard line. 2:35. And you don't really see a sense of urgency here with Strath Haven, do you? I think they're kind of staying in their base, and that's it.
Yeah, that time they had double tight end.
The interception was Custard's last stand, really, when they took over at the West Allegheny 42.
Well, let's see if they throw the ball here.
Jed, they averaged 229 yards rushing a game, just 113 tonight. Big time credit to the West Allegheny defense.
So 28-13 and 2:02 left.
Defensive coordinator deserves a big pat on the back.
Don't these coaches, though, that believe in the wing T, and it's not to knock it, they've obviously been very successful. Don't they want to spend a little bit more time in 7-on-7 camps trying to run a little bit of double slide, a little bit of run and shoot and get out of that wing T if they get into trouble? I mean, I know they have a lot of confidence. We can throw out of it. You can throw out of it when you have the play action ability, but when you're down, it doesn't count, as you pointed out the first game.
Back is Miller, looking long for Hannum. Palco is there, and it is intercepted. He got it in at the 35-yard line, maybe.
Well, now I think you go ahead and I think the celebration is starting on the West Allegheny side.
I think the security better get ready. You're going to have a sea of red storm the field here.
Well, you got to feel good for a team that, you know, twice they came here, came up short,
right,
and then come here and finally get up to the top of the mountain. And
there's the replay, and once again, an outstanding athletic play by Tyler.
7th interception of the year for Tyler Palco.
They had him turn an ankle too, and they hit Palco down. Clock continues to wind.
You know, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be a great quarterback, but I really think his days, when he goes to play on Sundays, it's going to be as a safety defensive back. I tell you right now, because I think he plays a great center field back there. And boy, can he hit.
Yeah, he has the height, he has the range. He's a ball hawk.
Yep, that's it.
He has all the qualities you need.
Can he bring a load of bricks when he comes up on running backs? Ooh.
Well, let's see how college goes before we start calling it an NFL career.
What the heck?
Come on.
What the heck? I'm always looking ahead, fellas. You know that.
Let's get him in the starting lineup at Pitt first.
Let's see how that goes.
Well, that shouldn't be a problem.
Sideline view of the NFL has changed my perspective a lot. It's a gnarly cover
I'd like to see what a Jermaine Moy and a Javon Bradley did today. I'd like to see that produce some kind of scholarship for those two kids. I think they're pretty good talents, and unfortunately, I think when you come from a single A school and a double A school, you've got an uphill climb to start with, just because you come from a small school.
Well, the coaches, those are the guys that were with us hugging right now. Has to mean an awful lot. Do we have something with Kevin Clancy? Is that what I'm to gather now? I see. Okay. 28-13, 1:44 left. And he's tackled back at about the 27-yard line.
Still pitching.
1:35 left.
Still pitching to doing those pitch outs. Why not just a little belly handoff, just to keep it simple? That just amazes me.
Timeout, Strath Haven. Delaying the inevitable. Game tomorrow at noon. Washington and Penn Argyl. And at 5, we'll have Quad A Woodland Hills going up against the Chamonix. Seen both. You favor Woodland Hills, but the Chamonix's been behind in 7 games this year and has found a way to win.
Listen, don't go by my picks, because I'm 0-2 right now, and I might be staring at an 0-4 the way I'm going.
Well, at this point, I think we should commend Strath Haven for the phenomenal run.
Boy, I'll say.
Back-to-back state championships, getting here a third time. It didn't work out for them, but
their last loss came to Allentown Central Catholic in the East title game in '98, 13-12. They won 53 straight in the regular season. That's intact going into next year. Conestoga beat them in '96
on a last-second field goal. I'll tell you, only 2 teams have won 3 straight PIAA state championships: CB West and Berlin. Actually, they've won 4 straight.
Play action, caught, first down, Mullins.
How many guys for, and you know what, West Allen, you could go down a list of a dozen names who have made some kind of a big play tonight.
Oh, it's been total team. T-E-A-M.
But the man behind the center, he was the catalyst for every good thing that happened.
Yeah, the boys from Imperial are Imperial tonight.
Impressive victory, no question about that.
Oh, impressive. Coaching, play.
Gary, let's go down to you. Get your thoughts here as we move toward the end of this thing.
Well, you know, when you coach and you get into games, you're together with a team year-round, especially in football with all the strength training, everything you do, the spring practice. You get to feel like a family, and I know one of the things that Bob Palco has talked about, particularly with his team, is it's a family affair. Well, maybe a little bit more with his team than others with Luke and himself and his son Tyler, and a very special bond there. This family's about ready to have a little bit of gold poured on it here in just a few moments. Just an outstanding game tonight, but again, I echo what Coach Pettin said. What a great run for Strath Haven, and we said it in the first game, we'll say it in this game. Give us a chance anytime to play in a championship game. It's a chance to win, a chance to lose on score, but you're never a loser when you get to a championship game and you have the chance to play for gold.
And redemption for West Allegheny. It's got to be tough to come to this and lose 2 years in a row, and they had to battle through 2 losses during the regular season. Won it, the AAA championship, 28-13. Impressive, guys.
There's nothing like that first time.
Got to be sweet after being so close each of the last 2 years. And for Strath Haven, well, their first loss of the new millennium, Gordon.
Well, the first loss in 45 games. And really, they're only their 5th loss in their past 85 games, which is an incredible run in itself, beyond the winning streak. Kevin Clancy, you know, four Catholic League championships, 2 PIAA championships. What a job he's done. But this is Bob Palco's night. This is Tyler and Luke. This is West Allegheny's night. And you love the fact that they play with that emotion from the start all the way through. They just play with a lot of energy.
Well, you know, those are some of the intangibles. And you never know how a team's going to show up.
There's a great respect these 2 programs have for one another. That's been the theme all week as we've done a lot of preparation for this. And the excitement, obviously, of West Allegheny coming through the handshake line. Great sportsmanship as always. And that's it, 28-13.
There's some just great 3A programs in the state. West Allegheny with this win enters that select group.
Mike Conti will be coming to you next here on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. He'll have some thoughts and some analysis, highlights of this AAA championship tonight, won by West Allegheny at 28-13. 2 more tomorrow, 1 at noon, Washington and Penn Argyl, and at 5, Woodland Hills and Neshaminy. Final thought, Gordon. Impressive redemption tonight.
Big time. Palco's came out as a team and wanted to make this happen, and West Allegheny just was not going to come away with as a loser. And I'm telling you, the people right now in Western PA are thinking sweep. They got through today. They want to get that sweep. The WPIAL brought all 4 champions they want to go home 4-0.
All right, day one is in the books. Earlier today, Rochester went 16-0 over Southern Columbia. West Allegheny, you see it there, 28-13 over Strath Haven. Got rolling early. Mike Craig set it up. Coming up next, Mike Conti in the post-game wrap-up show here on PCN. So delighted to be with you for Gordon Blaine, for the coach, Mike Pettin Sr., Gary Sutton as well, our WITF production crew and the staff as well. Good friends with the Pennsylvania Cable Network. I'm Jed Donahue. West Allegheny, the third time was the charm, wins handily 28-13 and claims gold in AAA. This is exclusive coverage of the PIAA Football Championships. You are watching the Pennsylvania Cable Network, Pennsylvania's Championship Network. There are a lot of the thanks to the PIAA, Brad Cashman, Melissa Mertz, Dr. Bob Lombardi, Mark Byers, and the whole gang. 28-13 West Allegheny over Strath Haven. Tyler Palco ends a brilliant career on a winning note. Till tomorrow, have a good evening, everybody. See you tomorrow in Hershey.
You've been watching PCN's exclusive coverage of PIAA Championship football on PCN, Pennsylvania's Championship Network. PCN's presentation of regular season high school sports contests is underwritten by Pennsylvania Cable Television Companies, delivering local, state, and national sports programming. And by Homework Help on PCN, televised homework assistance for primary and secondary school students. You're watching PCN, the Pennsylvania Cable Network, a public service of Pennsylvania Cable Television Companies. PCN is supported in part by AT&T Broadband, serving cable subscribers in Canonsburg, Coriopolis, and Greensburg. PIAA Championships throughout the year exclusively on PCN. In February, team wrestling. In March, diving, swimming, wrestling, and boys and girls basketball. In May, track and field. In June, boys volleyball, girls spring soccer, baseball, and softball. In November, girls volleyball, field hockey, boys and girls soccer, and cross country. And rounding out the year in December, championship football. For additional high school sporting events, check our website at pcntv.com. Watch regular season high school basketball matchups live on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Friday nights at 7:30, it's regional hoops action on PCN's Game of the Week. PCN Game of the Week leads up to exclusive basketball championship coverage in March. The State Farm Show live on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Watch the championship rodeo, folk dance contest, livestock judging, horse and pony pulling competitions, cooking and wildlife demonstrations, the Sheep to Shawl event, and more as PCN presents sights and sounds of Pennsylvania's premier agricultural showcase. Around-the-clock coverage of the State Farm Show airs in January exclusively on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. High school wrestlers grapple all winter long on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Saturday nights at 9, PCN's Match of the Week features some of the best wrestling matchups from around the state. Catch the excitement of primetime high school wrestling Saturday nights exclusively on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. College students majoring in communications or political science, the Pennsylvania Cable Network is now accepting internship applications for all semesters. Interns gain valuable hands-on experience and network with industry professionals. For more information about PCN and internship opportunities, visit our website at pcntv.com. To apply, email your resume or send it to Pennsylvania Cable Network, 401 Fallowfield Road, Camp Hill, PA 17011. The Pennsylvania Cable Network, your exclusive home for PIAA State Championship sports. Throughout the scholastic season, the best high school teams and athletes compete for state gold on PCN. For a complete listing of championship dates and times, visit our website at pcntv.com. PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network.
And welcome back to Hershey Park Stadium. Here's our post-game show on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. West Allegheny winners tonight over Strath Haven 28-13, and Strath Haven's 44-game win streak is snapped. They will not get their third state title in a row. Instead, it's the first for Coach Bob Palco, quarterback Tyler Palco, and the West Allegheny Indians in what I think some would call a mild upset. Mike Conti joined by Gary Sutton. Now let's take a look at the highlights from tonight's game, Gary.
Well, Mike, when you look at the highlights tonight, I mean, it was all West Allegheny, and you look at this first one, little screen pass, Tyler Palco, who really engineered a wonderful offense tonight. Look at him just pushing over right here, screen pass, went for 31 yards all the way down the near sideline, and a big play at a time when West Allegheny really had to recapture the momentum here in the second half and push them into another touchdown. West Allegheny comes back again, this time the touchdown, and watch this. Pitch out to Henry, who comes around the far sideline and salts in the third touchdown here for West Allegheny.
And a nice block there by Mullins on the end.
Strath Haven had a very nice march in the second half. As you see it right here, Miller looking down the field from McGarity. Does a nice job of really keeping some poise and throws right back to the middle. Watch McGarity handle it in the back of the end zone. Brings it in, says, I've got it. I think I can get us back in the game, but it just wasn't enough for Strath Haven tonight, as we see again here. Interception time. This was really the last gasp for Strath Haven in terms of a legitimate drive, as you see him get intercepted downfield by Stefanski. And then it's kind of appropriate that a Palco would have the last big play of the game, you would think, for West Allegheny. As Miller goes back one more time, he's going to have a lot of good days ahead of him, a sophomore. But looking downfield, and Tyler Palco, an all-stater at this position over the years, in addition to being one outstanding quarterback going to Pitt, picks it off at the end, and it truly was a Palco family affair here tonight for West Allegheny, 28-13.
Yes, as it was, as we take a look at the final stats here, Gary, and Strath Haven did get the running game going tonight, 114 for them, but big numbers for Tyler Palco, 14 of 20 for 201, and the one interception, and turnover is also a big key. That's something that hurt West A in the state finals last year. This year, the reverse, 3 for Strath Haven and 1 for West Allegheny.
Well, and in 2 West Allegheny losses this year, they had 10 turnovers, but not tonight. Against Blackhawk and Thomas Jefferson early in the season, 10 turnovers, but tonight only 1 turnover, really didn't hurt them. But you look at the time of possession also, over 7 minutes on the other team, and that really, anytime you have 7 minutes of the time of possession, that talks about really controlling the ball game. West Allegheny, for the most part, controlled the game from start to finish tonight, and it was response statement time. You make a statement, the other team has to respond. Strath Haven was not able to respond tonight as they did last year.
And let's put some context to this win here by West Allegheny. It's been 3 years since Strath Haven lost a game. They have come to the state title game the last 2 years against West Allegheny. They have won both times, albeit in close affairs, but tonight it is West Allegheny that takes home the trophy, and certainly I couldn't think of a better way, Gary, for Tyler Palco to close out his fine career. And I would think the folks at Pitt have got to be thrilled with what they're going to get next year.
Well, the assistant coaches from Pitt were down here tonight watching, doing a little babysitting, I guess. And Tyler Palco is certainly showing a lot of poise tonight. I talked about it during the game. The poise and presence of a quarterback are so important. And one of the things that Tyler Palko, I think, brings to the game and will bring to the collegiate game at Pitt is the fact that he has such great eyesight, great vision. Anytime you have the headlights up, you control the field. We saw Tyler Palko time and time again tonight look off receivers, come back to the near side, look off the near side, come back to the far side. Really showed a lot of presence out there tonight. And for a high school quarterback to be able to do that, you know, a lot of collegiate quarterbacks are one receiver looks. Here's a kid that's really got some kind of savvy heading off to the collegiate level.
Strath Haven really had a tough time tonight getting the ball to Josh Hannum. He was the big play man coming into the game. His production a little bit down this year. Teams have caught on to him basically, and no different tonight with West Allegheny. Used a lot of double teams on him, and then Gary, when it got almost desperate for them, they had to use him out of the backfield.
Josh Hannum doing a lot of swings out of the backfield. He's been double teamed all year long, heading off to Notre Dame. He's going to be an outstanding young player, but double teamed all year, and tonight it was Tyler Palko, Joe Slappy doing a lot of that double teaming. He was really never a factor in the game. The one great catch that he had was out of bounds, and so Josh Hannum taken out of the game tonight, but that's, you know, you got to take your hat off to West Allegheny for really playing him very, very well. And the inexperience of the sophomore quarterback, I would think, had to hurt them tonight. West Allegheny came out of the gate, blitzing, really trying to hurry him, pushing him early, got him to throw the interception early, which led to the first touchdown. And I felt all night that the defense, the gambling kind of defense that Bob Palko and his staff put together really was a factor in the early part of this game and setting this game in motion for West Allegheny.
Now, West Allegheny last weekend in the West Final did a good job with special teams to create some opportunities for them, and what a night tonight on special teams. Fine punts by Tyler Palko, something that probably will not be talked about too much when this game is written in the history books, but he had some fine punts tonight, only a couple punts outside the 20-yard line. And West Allegheny once again blocks a punt, and that was kind of at a big juncture in the game too, Gary.
Yeah, it really was. And again, it's a game of mistakes, a game of field position. I thought West Allegheny had it all over in both games tonight. And you look at the fact that, you know, field position when they needed it, smart decisions. They have a high-octane offense, too. They're able to score at any time from any place on the field. You don't get the impression that a Strath Haven team that runs out of that Delaware wing tee can really do it as well. And it took a 12-play, 80-yard march from the score. Their one touchdown. Really, it takes a lot of time. So for West Allegheny tonight, I think the quick kick kind of offense, having the better of it on the mistakes, and doing a much better job on field position led to a wonderful victory for them tonight in their first state championship.
We don't want to short sell Strath Haven, what they've done this year. By the way, Strath Haven's band tonight was excellent. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, there are collegiate bands that would love to have Strath Haven's band, I'll guarantee you.
No, they're outstanding, I agree. But, you know, here's a team that beat Berwick in the playoffs, and then they had that great win, emotional win, last Saturday against Manheim Central, coming into tonight's game off a 6-day turnaround. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. When you beat the likes of Berwick and Manheim Central in the span of 2 weeks, you have really done something special.
Yeah, you've beaten some pretty good pedigree there in football, and I think I echo what Mike Pettin said during the game, and he's got a little experience doing that with CB West. Every single week, you know, you've got the target on your back. You've won 44 in a row. You're looking for number 45 tonight. So, you know, not too bad a run here for Strath Haven. Again, you know, what a boys program they have there. I have to echo the fact they won the soccer championship, co-championship this year with Erie Cathedral Prep. They're back here playing for a state championship in football again. And so, you know, who knows what's going to happen next year if they go to 4A. But Strath Haven certainly with a very, very good football program, a great football program, in fact. And to be denied one win short of a state championship again tonight, no shame in that.
West Allegheny, by the way, has some key players returning. Luke Palko coming back next year, as is Deanna Henry, their big-time running back. So you would think the cupboard next year, Gary, is not really bare for West Allegheny, along with Strath Haven.
I'm always a great believer that great programs don't rebuild, they replace. And there are some kids waiting out there to step into the likes of Joe Slappy or a Tyler Palko, you know, the great players that they have. And so great programs are building people along the way. And of course, during the season, when you have some of those blowout games, when you have those situations, you'll learn to build some depth. And that's exactly what both these programs can do.
All right, so Strath Haven going Quad A next year. That's a big adjustment for this team. They've dominated AAA football, obviously 2 state championships in the last 3 years. Kind of took the torch away from Berwick there, who had a nice run at AAA. Now they go Quad A. Do you think they can be competitive?
Oh, absolutely. I think they really can be. And they're a big school. You know, you look at them. They've got a lot of kids returning next year. Again, I talk about the word pedigree a lot. When you talk about pedigree of a program, you've got an outstanding coach there, and Coach Clancy in his 11th year and over 168 wins. So this guy, you know, knows what to do in building great programs. I think they could certainly be very, very competitive in 4A, and who knows, we could see him back here in a 4A championship in a year or so.
Well, certainly we would not be surprised to see that. Another nice job by Strath Haven, but West Allegheny, the winner tonight, 28-13. They are the 2001 PIAA champions, and also Rochester today, a 16-0 winner over Southern Columbia, the single A champions. Tomorrow, Washington and Woodland Hills will try and continue that West domination as Washington takes on Penn Argyl tomorrow in the AA championship game. You'll see it here on PCN at 12 noon. And then Woodland Hills will battle Neshaminy in the Quad A finals coming up at 5 on PCN. And Gary, I just want to know how you were able to pull it off that you get to go to Florida now while I get to stand in the rain tomorrow.
Well, I just had a little bit of an in down there. I've got one big question, though. When are we going to start an EPIAL? That maybe is the big question tonight in terms of symmetry. You know, we got the WPIAL out there. Maybe the East wants to start that one up. I don't mean to start a little argument here, but maybe it's something to go in Pennsylvania football. But, you know, we can certainly be proud as we watch the 2 games today, and I'm sure the 2 games tomorrow of Pennsylvania football. It still is as strong as ever. Great players, as always. Well-officiated games here at Hershey Park Stadium, and certainly great coaching, great players, and a wonderful day of football.
All right, so the East will try and represent tomorrow. Again, you can see and hear on PCN the AA finals between Penn Argyl and Washington coming up at noon tomorrow, and then the Quad A finals, Neshaminy and Woodland Hills at 5. For Gary Sutton, Jed Donahue, Gordon Blaine, Mike Penton, Rich Vitak, and the rest of our PCN crew, I'm Mike Conti. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon for more live football on PCN.